for those of you who are wondering what the fuck happened to his hair, man, it's just life, man. It's just life. And I say yes to life. Cheers. I'm going to keep talking in this ridiculous, who the hell is that guy from accent until our moderator, ref extraordinaire, there's a battle going on right now between T and T. It's TNT. Good morning. We are here to explore a behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to be a moderator and a ref in this harsh live streaming environment. We are going to be interviewing our very own, thank you, T, secret agent, ref, moderator, powerhouse, Calvin Cove is watching, but I won't say anything. Tori, thank you, Calvin. Tori is perhaps a fictitious name. Perhaps it's her real name. Perhaps we'll never know. We will be bringing her on so you can see what it really takes to have an office as a moderator. Tori. Put your weapons away and off camera. Put your water gun away. Put your water bed away. Put your water balloons away. We need something to reveal later. And I would like to bring you on so that we can show the world your new office. Shall we do this? Ha!
Hello, agents.
It's just I have to do something with this hair. If I'm going to have the hair, I have to have a ridiculous accent along with it.
So that accent goes with the hair?
Yeah, when this gets cut, whenever my girl like left me high and dry. I won't even get into my haircut drama because I promised everybody on here. I promised.
You did.
Everybody. I'm like, I swear to God, it'll be cut by next week, so it doesn't look like, I don't know. We are here to. Your hair's a little like coiffy today too, man. You got a little extra wave and stuff. And you got a little extra. Like, look at the two of us, man. Like, it's like, what happened? Did I say something wrong? You don't want to talk about hair. Fine. Just tell me. Don't just drop like that. Jesus, man. What's wrong with you? Do you spell passive aggressive with a hyphen or just passive aggressive? Can't remember. Take dose.
I don't know.
What is wrong with you, girl? You're just like, click, I'm done. Why would you bring up my hair right now? Why would you do that? What's up, Erica? This is we're getting very highbrow and very deep very fast. It's all about hair today. If that's cool with you. What's up, Erica.Humble? Okay, so Tori, why don't you take the mic a little bit? What are we going to be exploring today? What do you got over there?
Oh, as in for me, not just Erica, because I could talk about Erica for.
I know we could talk about Erica. Well. We're going to talk about Erica.
We'll save it.
So Tori just got a new office, a new home office.
Finally, yeah.
And it looks, well, I'll let it speak for itself. So Tori, why don't you take us through?
Sure.
What it's like to have a ref mod. Are you a ref mod?
Here's the full view.
Dude, I want it. How much?
Got an office chair.
We're going to
It
be offering
spins.
something at the end of this stream. You can get this entire suite for a very special deal.
This is personal laptop. It has YouNow on it right now, obviously.
Can we get up and close and personal on the personal laptop for a second? Oh,
Yeah.
what's going on there?
You can even
Oh
see
my
yourself
God.
right there if you want some inception.
What? All right, now that I just blew up. All right, that's pretty awesome. And this is your Mac, right?
Yep, Mac.
This is your Maciboki.
PC. That's my work computer.
So it's like a little battle, Mac PC battle.
Yeah, I had
Which
to
one?
get
Which
used to
one
both.
do you think typically wins?
I'm a Mac person. I was a Mac person in college. I just know how to work it. It seems to have like a better startup. I just hate with the rest of Apple products how you need specific cords and plugins for Macs compared to the rest of
Yeah,
them.
and they cost more than the computer.
Yeah.
They got you
Yeah,
on those
I'm a Mac girl.
dongles. Awesome.
Extra monitor,
Ex-
keyboard.
Just is that like a decoy monitor? Like if someone comes in and steals your monitors, they're gonna take that one because it's
They
the
can
biggest,
take
and you're
that
like,
instead of
ah,
my
I wasn't
other-
even using that one. Sucker.
I had 2 screens at work, and
Can
when
I be honest
came-
right now? I don't think that you have that monitor connected at all,
It
and I
is
don't think you ever
connected.
will. Turn it on.
Show you my connections. It is on. I just have to
Yeah, I'm not buying it.
look.
It's not. It's just there for intimidation, which is fine.
No, now I gotta show you, but that means I have to log in.
As she's acting like she's logging into this third computer.
Huh.
She's not logging in. Whatever. You just put that screensaver on there as a permanent screensaver. All right, I'll let you go. So you got 3 monitors. So this is what's required. Is this what's
Oh.
required?
I forgot an important detail. I set it up so it's facing the window, one,
Right.
so I can look out the window when I work, but also so I have good lighting for when I stream.
Are you a streamer?
Working on it. Did I tell you I bought a capture card?
I love how she says that on a stream. We'll see. I don't. You have a
Working on it.
you have a capture card?
Yeah.
No way.
To try and learn how to stream video games as well as music, this kind of stuff. So.
Dopeness. What did you get?
Yeah. It's.
What's going on, Furkan?
Cheaper.
Thank you for becoming a fan.
Abtech.
Whoa, that looks kind of fancy. What's it, an Aptech?
Yeah.
I love the red and black, honestly. Like, that's what I've got. That's my insightful comment. Red and black.
Good colors.
And so what does this do? This basically handles the video externally to your computer so you can do, like, chip-choppy things.
Yeah, it's external. It plugs in. I specifically bought it so you could stream it in Nintendo Switch, which is the last video game console to kind of get into streaming compared to like Xbox, PlayStation. Yeah, so it's external. You plug it in, and it will, I guess, make it so the device can stream on whatever platform. It can also record and capture card. It can capture the video game. So some people use it just to like record them playing, and then they'll edit it for YouTube. Yeah, haven't plugged it in yet. Still need to get it up and running.
Ooh!
Yeah.
You've unboxed it, though.
Yes. That was the first thing I did.
When did you get it? Like this week?
This weekend.
Oh my God.
Along with the rest
Super
of my
brand new.
setup.
Okay, so we got a capture card and 3 screens.
Stand-up desk. I didn't mention that.
Can we get a close-up of the crankshaft?
The crank.
That sounds a little inappropriate, but whatever. People know what I mean. It's literally just a crankshaft.
Literally a crank.
Nice
It's pretty easy
crankshaft. Yeah. So can you show it? Will everything topple over if you
No, it won't. I don't know if I could do it while I
have stuff going and
hold the phone.
Ah!
There it goes.
All right.
It's rising. Probably takes like a solid minute to get height, which isn't that bad. I don't mind doing it.
So do you switch off during the day?
Yes.
I love doing that.
Yep. It's been lately more sitting because it's been so hot.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
It's been so hot
Well,
in LA.
whatever. Complaining, eh. Okay, so 3 screens. You got a crankshaft, standing desk, sitting mostly these days.
Yep.
You've got a CAPTCHA called, and then what else? What's really driving this though?
Driving.
Just this new office. What's really driving it?
It was me accepting that I'm going to be working from home for a while.
You accepted that?
Yeah. Well, my day job, I think I told you, we're stopping the rent on our office space.
Yeah.
To save money.
Yeah.
And I mean, like this whole time it's like, oh, only a couple more months and maybe we'll be back in the office. Only a couple more months, maybe we'll.
I think it was your company accepted that the home office thing is fine. Like, damn it. All right, fine, whatever.
Mm-hmm. So I was like,
because that's a major thing. Like, when you basically cut ties with your office, it's like, okay, here we go.
We're here for a while.
It's kind of scary. So now you're like, okay, I got enough water. I can't go into the office for water now. What else? What else is there that's like making sure that you can do your thing?
It's just really having a space. Like before I was just at my dining room table.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but it's not the comfiest. And then if Steph comes home and watches TV, it's like in the same space.
You're like, dude, I'm trying to work, and she's like, I'm trying to watch TV.
I'm trying to watch The Office. I'm trying to work in my office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you can slam the door and be like, I have to get to work.
Door, exactly. Like, do not disturb.
You guys don't know how dramatic Tori can get sometimes. If she has to get back to work, it's like, slam. No, she doesn't.
Before,
all right, so what else? I know there's some extra stuff in this office that like makes this thing work. What else is in there?
Oh, wait. I think I know where you're getting at.
I have nothing in mind when I'm saying that. It's my favorite and what else question.
That's true. You love that. Bookshelf.
Nice. You got very colorful books. Are those? And they're all yellow and blue, you Bruin.
It's mostly Harry Potter stuff.
Oh, okay.
To be very honest. It's, I don't know if you've ever noticed on Zoom calls.
It's a very festive looking set of bookshelves. Like, I've never seen bookshelves look more like a candy store than this particular set of bookshelves.
It's books, pop figures. I have some wands. I have an Ed Sheeran pop figure.
Oh.
On this side I have Taylor Swift.
Whoa. Where did you get that? Is that from a concert?
That my niece actually won in a contest.
Oh, wow. And is that like an official? I've never seen it. I mean, I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan, but I've just never seen that poster.
Like the album art from, it mashes up Lover and Reputation.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then in the corner we had
What's up, Ruba?
Kind of spot just to like lounge. And it's turned into Honey's Lounge.
Oh my God! Why didn't you? Why didn't you prepare me for that?
That is what I thought you were hinting at the whole time. You're like, what else? What else? Just show me honey.
No, I think it was in my subconscious, but I wasn't actually. Oh my God. I can't.
It's her favorite. The belly scratches.
Oh, man. Well, I feel like the last time that I saw her, which was a couple of days ago, she didn't have the that really nice looking hat on, honey. It looks great. You look great, honey. Why didn't she have it on the other day? What's up, Shelly?
If we're watching her, we'll take it off. But when I'm like working and not really watching her, I put it on. Because she still tries to look at her little stitches.
Yeah. So I think she gets to wear it for about another week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna feel naked without it, honey. Look at that. Like, even when she's lying down, like she doesn't give a shit, it's still like super hyper cute. Yeah, that's awesome. And I like how she's like, I think I'll just let my head hang over the edge.
Like, is that comfy? I don't know.
Like, I don't know. Maybe it's like a yoga thing. Like, okay, stretch. I just realized that like the lighting in here is, I think it's because it's like I'm getting natural light. Okay, that's a little better.
So yeah, that's the space.
Thank you
It's
for
super
inviting your fans,
exciting.
Ruba. She's like, this sounds random and interesting. We're looking at a home office right now. I'm going to take some notes. Who else has a home office right now? Is everybody just sort of in denial still? I mean, I think I am.
I really
It's just
want
kind
a
of like,
home office
whatever,
time.
I can get it done. Does anybody else have a souped up home office with a dog with a hat on?
Not really
Okay,
big
what
stuff
else
that
you
tops
got?
it
What
off.
else? Any color-coded pens or highlighters or crayons
I mean,
or
of course.
whiteboard? Because if you have one of those, I need to come over there and grab it. Oh, wow.
Got the pens. Don't have a whiteboard,
Yeah.
though. I'd love
Well,
one. I would use
I
it.
know. Just to have one. Oh, basketball
Oh, I like
basketball goal.
that.
Yeah. Like a
Put it over
real
the
one
trash
with a
can.
real basketball. So it's like, clunk. What's going on in there? Playing basketball. So anyway, you and I and Marshall are going to meet tomorrow at 5. Clunk. Yeah, like a Nerf one?
The one of the high executives of Microsoft has a competition within every office, every Microsoft office,
Yeah.
on how many hoops you can make in a row of those little basketball hoops. And they take it all the way to their end conference, and there's a shoot-off between the final 3. Just because
Dun,
I
dun,
like
dun.
office basketball hoop. I thought that was so cute.
T, you got a basketball hoop? You got a home office? What you got over there? I used to play, like, this is so ridiculous, and I didn't remember this for a long time until just now, but like I used to play aggressive, like we would have like one of those plastic basketball hoops that went on the top of the door, between the door and the lip, and the ceiling.
Yeah.
And I would play like aggressive basketball with my friends. Like I'm gonna elbow your face and make sure you don't make that basket. Like, because you can be way more aggressive when the ball is squishy and soft, and it's like, than if you have a real ball and a real hoop. People are like, you can't punch the guy, dude. This is basketball. But if it's Nerf basketball, like there's no rule book for Nerf basketball. Like, until somebody goes to the hospital, you're gonna keep playing. So it's fun. And we should do stuff like that. What's up, Scotty? You got a home office, bro? We're going right in. We're going. Oh, you got a basketball goal? Should we? You wanna show it off? You wanna show off your jump shot there, T?
This
She's
is like the
maybe.
cribs version of home office.
Cribs, home office cribs, dude. Mm-hmm. I think it's a good idea. Okay, So anything else? What's up, Miri? What else we got? Like, what's really driving this place?
I think that's it.
No.
What am I missing?
I don't know. You tell us.
The question is so open-ended, I don't know how to answer it.
You better come up with something. Come on, there's one more thing in the office.
Do you actually have an answer for it, or you just
dude. I just like to see you go, what are you talking about? Like, as if you're trying to guess what I'm thinking. Stop doing that. There's nothing going on in here. Zero.
I'm like, is there
just stay right where you are.
Mate?
No, what else is in the office? There's probably one more thing. So you got, let's see, you got your standing desk. You have like a badass chair. He wants to show off her jumper. We'll bring you on in a sec. Oh, Scotty, do you want to come on and tell us about, it sounds like you had some wins in the music department this week. You want to come on and chit chat a little bit? Scotty's like, I had a really good week. I was really busy. Love you guys. Nah, it wasn't like that. But he was like telling me that some good stuff was happening. You're welcome to pop on for a second. Got about 10 before Erica. This is the coffee talk portion, and the what are they talking about portion. So, all right, I want to see T's basketball setup. Let's see what this looks like.
You got 2 shares too. You got Scotty who said sure as well.
Oh, did we?
Scotty.
I didn't see sure.
Hey T.
What's that, T?
Nothing much.
Scotty, I'll bring you on in a second. For some reason, the whatever you said after "Hey guys" didn't pop up on my screen, bro. Where's that basketball hoop?
Right here.
Oh wow!
Oh, nice.
Jesus, that's
It's
like
got-
that's like straight professional. Like we went to the like the pier at Santa Monica, and they're doing like bing 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 bing.
Hey, and
What?
he made it. Didn't even have any pressure, no cold feet.
Dude,
Like, let me just sink it right here.
I love the sound of it. Let me hear it again. Dude,
That's like a legit.
that is
basketball.
super legit. So when's the bracket for that? When does the tournament start, and how do we get in? You guys, do you play with your fam, or do you play like with your dad, or?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
That's Erica's
Yeah, I got it
September
yesterday.
Madness.
That is amazing. Yeah, you got a little March Madness in there? You guys do March Madness? You do a little tournament between the two of you?
No.
No, not yet.
It's just her all day,
It's just her all day going,
sinking them.
air, and then she's like, yeah, I'm busy. Call me back. Air. You been writing some raps? You been doing some stuff?
Yeah, I just wrote a couple raps.
A couple? Today?
No, I wrote it a couple of days ago. Check my swag and stuff. That's the name
Yeah.
of one of them.
Check my swag and stuff is the title?
No, it just say check my swag.
Oh, check my swag. I like check my swag. Tori says that all the time.
To Pete,
All the time.
Check my swag, Pete.
So what was your biggest success of the week in your music that you're doing?
Just learning the words and stuff.
So
I'm trying to learn the words.
you're trying to learn the words?
Yeah, learn the
Memorize
rap
them?
Yeah, I'm trying.
Cool. So I'll tell you what, let's really dope. It's good to see you, Kiki. That's funny. I thought this was going to be a good topic as well. That's awesome. So keep doing that. Let's bring you on soon, and you can do one of your raps by memory.
Ooh.
Sound good?
Yeah.
She's like, what? Okay. She's like,
I
okay.
didn't sign up for this, Pete.
She's like, yeah, totally. I'm going to bring Scotty on and answer the same question. It was great seeing you again, T. Thank you for the basketball lessons.
No problem.
We'll see you in a few.
Okay.
Scotty. Why are you
Bring
so
'em
smart?
Out, bring him out.
Why are you so smart? And there's that awkward pause where it's just S with the screen. What's up?
Hey man, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Good, dude. It's
Hey there.
really, really good compared to the first time when you were like, speaker.
Yeah, I'm using my
Also,
laptop now.
It
Give
sounds
him
good.
a little bit more time to get set up compared to last time.
Well, I'm not doing that again. So tell us how your week's been, man. It's good to see you.
It's been great. Did you I sent you another text and reply to your one. Did you look at it?
Nope.
No worries.
Looking at it right now. Oh, got you.
I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, totally. So we could also talk about like stuff you're trying to figure out technically, because that's sort of the back end of what we're going to be doing after we speak with Erica is talking to 7,000 Apart about like how you basically get audio while you're streaming, especially as a guest, is a little tricky sometimes. Is that something you're trying to figure out? Have you tried to do stuff and it's not working? Like, what are your sticking points with the tech stuff?
We're not on I'm not very much familiar with the YouNow platform as far as that goes. One thing
It doesn't have to be specific to YouNow. It's just like anything you're trying to figure out.
Well, I know, well, one thing specific to YouNow that I did want to know, like, for example, you know how on Zoom, you can share your computer screen and audio, so people can view your computer screen and audio. So like if you're playing like from your DAW, you can share directly from that instead of like having to play it off your laptop speaker and then someone hears it from there. Is there a way to do it, that same thing in YouNow, where you can share the actual kind of visual and audio from your computer so other people can hear that directly?
Totally. It's the question that you texted to me like 2 weeks ago. I love the question. For what it's worth, what we're looking at today is the first half of that question, or the second half of that question, whichever half, which is just audio. In other words, when you're particularly in YouNow, because of the way it's set up, like for example, I'm on an iPad, which is even a little step removed from like a desktop environment, but having the audio from your computer or straight from a processor or a DAW or from the sound of your device is its own challenge. And I think that's the most common, and I think it's the most applicable to people that are doing things in music. But Tano, I remember, was trying to figure out the same thing. Tori, do you feel like, because I know we've spoken to Guillermo about this by now, we've spoken to Tano, I don't remember anyone having figured out specifically. I know Paul was trying to figure out from Relation. I don't think we've spoken to anyone yet that's done it successfully as a guest on YouNow. I'm certain you can do it as a host because you see people doing it all the time. Yeah. Brento Bean does it. A lot of people do it. So I'm sure it can be done on YouNow as a host. As a guest, that's part of our journey, is to figure stuff like that out. So I don't know if we have an answer yet. Tori, what did I forget about that answer?
No, yeah, that's all correct. You could screen share as a host and have the audio play through what you're screen sharing. But yeah, as a guest, everyone has dabbled with it and can't seem to find a way where it goes directly to YouNow instead of out through your computer or speakers and back into the mic.
Kiki sounds like she might know somebody too. Like, I feel like Guillermo could figure it out. Paul could figure it out. Probably Emma and James could figure. I'm sure there's a solution. It's also a question of, I really think it matters a lot whether you're on, say, an iOS or mobile device versus a desktop. So there's that. It's probably easier to solve if you're on a desktop, on a Mac or a PC desktop. You have a MacBook, right, Scotty?
Yeah.
So maybe sort of we can put that in our minds, Tori, like, okay, so maybe the next step in this process is bring someone on to crack the code about what do you think is more valuable, Scotty, to have to figure out how to do the visual side of it, to be able to open up a DAW and talk production and talk mixing and stuff like that. Maybe mixing with Mike could do that also.
Yeah.
Is that more valuable, or just being able to do audio easier?
Well, I feel like, because I think the thing I mentioned to you when we were speaking previously was having the visual and the audio such that, I give you the example when I was with my professor in my audio technology class. I'd often go to her office hours and she'd be able to hear it and then see it. So then she could look at my screen and then say, oh, you should go do this on your EQ. So I feel like to kind of, if you wanted to do something like that, if you're kind of like showing stuff to producer and want to get like some technical kind of tips on production, I feel like you kind of need both, because then they can, instead of just hearing it, they can really look at it. I mean,
Here's my thought on it. Because I want to bring Erica on at 10. Thank you, Erica, for rating and for bringing your fans, and thank you all you folks for sliding in right now. My thought would be that we should also look at the possibility of having maybe a secondary device, like whatever that device is, that's running a DAW, or whatever it's running, and then everybody can look at that screen as its own animal and say, oh, see what's happening here in bar 15, and everyone can watch that rather than trying to put everything on one single device along with YouNow. I think that's a large hill to climb versus having multiple devices. Thank you, Erica. Right? So we'll definitely continue the conversation and bring you back on soon. And it's good to see you again, bro. And congratulations on the traction you're getting, and we'll talk more.
Good to see you too. Thanks for having me. Nice seeing you, Tori.
Scotty.
Pete, while you're there, will you ref me up and I'll go slide back into the chat?
Yep. Can I do both of those? Like, which one do I do first? You like how I'm like,
I'll move myself.
Let's do that, and then say something in the message. What's up, Erica?
Hello.
Hello there. How are you?
Good. I woke up like 20 minutes ago.
I love that, and I
Yeah.
admire that, and I cannot relate to that at all, because if I'm going to do something like of any value in my life, I have to get up like 2 hours before, because my brain just goes booting. And I love people. Tori can do that. She can be like, yeah, I just got up. What do you need? And I'm like, how do you do that?
I'm normally the same, but if anything, I was up, but then I kept like snoozing my alarm. I was like, whatever. Because, I mean, I went to bed at like 3, right? So, I mean, I did have the normal sleep. So, it's not like I just slept in for hours and hours. But my sleep schedule's a little off for sure.
Why is that? Is it just off because whatever sometimes?
Yeah, I think I kind of slept too long one day, and then I wasn't tired until too late, and then it just... can't really get that back, so
it like throws it off, and then you can't get to sleep till 2 or 3, and then you
but that's why I need something to kind of like wake me up in the morning. So because there's nothing that besides this right now, like currently I don't have anything that's like, oh, you have to wake up at this time, but
Right.
I start classes again next week, so I'll have to be up at like 9 every day anyways, so that'll definitely get my schedule back on. I just temporarily,
You were on that summer whatever schedule.
Yeah, exactly.
So 9 o'clock isn't too bad. I remember having classes that first year where you're trying to you have like 8 o'clock classes and shit, and they're like, sorry, this is what first year looks like, and you're like, ugh.
Well, I mean, like my high school would start at like 7 or whatnot. So like. That was fine though, because it was every day, so you got used to it, right? But like the college 8 a.m.s are so much worse than the high school.
Because it's like once a day or once a week or something.
Because it's like you like Monday you can sleep in, and then Tuesday you have to be up at 7, and then like Tuesday you can. It's not like all the same schedule, so that it messes you up more. So
right. So Kiki was mentioning sweatpants every day, which makes me think: when you kick back into school next week, you're going to be virtual, or are you actually physically going in?
It's all online for us.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. It's a weird moment right now. Like some people are like, I have to go back to school.
There are some classes that my college has that is kind of hybrid, where it's like partially in person, partially not. But they kind of have to be very flexible this semester, where like they told people, thankfully I'm not in any of those. They told people, if for some whatever reason you want to choose to do all online, you could choose that. Like, it's not like you're forced to go to school. It's just you're given the option if you want that in-person instructor kind of environment. But then it's possible that in mid-semester they may make those instructors go all online. So it's like this semester is going to be very interesting.
Right.
But mine are all online.
Do you feel like it's maybe harder? Your major is engineering?
Chemical engineering.
Engineering. Do you feel like it's harder to sort of be engaged in class when you're doing it virtually versus being in Because I actually know a lot of students, and I know a lot of teachers in sort of the music space that are teaching right now, like at Musicians Institute and other places. And it's very hard for the teachers also. It's very hard for them to be like, did that make sense? Do we have, nobody's really that fluent in the environment yet.
Right.
So,
especially because you
know.
can't really see like their faces really, so you don't know like if they're looking confused or or what.
Right.
But
right.
I don't know. It's gonna be weird because some of the stuff that I'm learning, because this is my last year, is, well, one of them is a lab. So normally we would do experiments. So I don't know how they're gonna do that online, whether it's giving us the data and then we like make a report on it or what. But I'm like,
that's lame as hell.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they're gonna do that. And then
maybe they like can mail you the chemicals.
I feel like that's
it's like the DNA test that you get, where you're like, oh, and you're like,
I feel like that there's way more like at risk with that.
And shake it up and put it in a thing, and then like put it in the mail, and someone's gonna pick it up. It'll be fine. Oh my God.
That's just asking for a disaster.
It's asking for a disaster. Well, we already have a disaster, so let's go ahead and mix some chemicals in there. So you do so much. I mean, obviously, Tori and I are super stoked to have you on, and we want to sort of use this time to be able to let you talk about some of the things you do on YouNow. And one of my questions is really, okay, you're in your third year, or you're going into your fourth year as a college student in chemical engineering.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of stuff that you do just on YouNow, if you didn't have anything else going on, it seems like it's pretty astronomical. And then you've got life and school and all this other stuff. Like, how does all this fit together, and how does this sort of blend work, considering all the stuff that you're always doing on YouNow?
Like, it's hard because I would have Siri, go away.
So aggressive today. She's like, I don't understand your question. I'm like, I wasn't talking to you.
It's hard because she wanted it on the convo. I know, like, it's not your time, Siri, please. I just it's kind of hard to balance, but I think the nice thing is that my audience and like my family, like I say family, but like YouNow family
totally
is supportive enough where, like, when you're established enough, they will watch you whatever you're doing whenever you're on. Like, it's not really like
pressure
viewership. It's more of like a family of friendship. So like,
you're hanging.
I understand if I have to take a break for a little bit or cancel a stream last minute, or like they're a little more understanding of like,
thank you, Tori,
and my schedule not always being like crazy. Like, they know I'm not canceling something because I'm being lazy. They know that there's a reason behind it. And if anything, I feel worse than they do. They're like, fine, just like we'll see you tomorrow. Like, but I feel bad. But in terms of content, it's kind of hard because when I'm busy with everything else, I still want to stream consistently, because that's the whole version of like staying relevant and, having growth and momentum and everything. So it's hard trying to stay consistent, but also having like school where things just pop up. Like, there's not just I'm here 9 to 5, then I'm free. No, you're here, and then you sometimes have all these assignments and you have all these things that come up and you never know. And so I have to plan content that doesn't take a lot of effort, if you will. Like, I really wanted to do shows that are more like topic based, but I can't do them because the amount of time it would take to research for them would be too much.
I can relate to that.
You know what I mean? It'd be too much on top of everything else. So like, sometimes it's hard because content that I really want to do, I can't do because I'm not a full-time streamer. I'm not.
What kind of content would you do if you could clone yourself?
There's like a lot of like different games that I've thought of that are very cool. Like I used to, I don't do it anymore. I may end up doing it later, but I used to do like this trivia thing. If you've seen Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, I did Are You Smarter Than a YouNow Partner instead. And But I had to have like 80 trivia questions every week. You know what I mean? So it was kind of hard to like maintain on busy weeks or whatnot. And so like it got hard to have that with everything else. And I mean, that one was okay because you can just Google things. But I had some ideas for some games that I still may do later on, but they just take so much prep that I can't do it right now. You know,
it's totally fair. What's up, 7,000? So let me ask the flip of that question that you were alluding to a second ago, because I think again, like, it's great to be able to sort of unpack how you do things and help people understand it. I think your ability to be able to maybe make content that isn't so time laborious. So what have you found allows one to do that?
I mean, sometimes if I'm really busy and I can't do a planned show, like with the singing competition, that does take work in the beginning, but I kind of have it where, honestly, like after auditions and kind of like running all of that and getting people in the Discord and kind of getting everyone on board, it's honestly easy for me because I don't
just
have
show
to
up,
plan
let
anything.
people do
I
their
just give them
thing,
a schedule where I'm like, here's where you're going on, based off of if they said they had work or something, and then that's it. You know, it doesn't take a lot. But when it comes to like other shows, I'm trying to think. I mean, I don't think I have any shows that take a lot of effort right now because of that whole thing. I do a game called Intuition on Fridays normally, where it's like you ask questions and people will DM answers, and then you anonymously read them off, and they try and guess whose answers whose type thing.
I like
but that's not hard because I only go through like 15 questions through a broadcast. So, and I used to have cards, kind of repurposing like game cards out there. So this is from Loaded Questions, which is like a board game. So they have all these questions, right?
Yeah, you can just use those.
I use these, yeah.
Totally.
And so then I would just read it off a card. So there was that one. But if I ever had anything come up, I would just tell people, or I'm doing music, or, you know, because the nice thing about music is I'm just logging in, I'm going to sing for a little, and then boom, like I don't have to plan anything. So, yeah, it's kind of just making sure I'm not biting off more than I can chew with certain content. I used to do a thing called My Story as well, that it didn't take a lot of effort, but I felt like it was kind of hard to keep the chat interactive, where I was kind of interviewing people like you are, where I was asking them about their life and kind of what's their story like beyond YouNow, to kind of help understand partners on here and kind of relate to them better, and, you know, just talk about obstacles they've gone through and stuff like that. And so I used to do that, but it just felt like my audience wasn't really like engaged with that type of content, so they like more games and music. So I've kind of stick with that. But yeah, it's kind of, I don't know, it's a little all over the place. I've done everything. Like I've done Price is Right on here. I've done Deal or No Deal. I did like Wheel of Fortune. I did like.
You've tried a lot of things. You sort of experimented. Yeah. I
don't want to like stay in like one lane. I don't want to just do one thing, or I always try and like come up with something new, but it's hard. It's hard with coming up with something new, and I'm the YouNow version of Game Show Network, exactly.
That's true.
It's just hard to like plan new things, like I said. So I've kind of, you know, realized that sometimes my audience doesn't really care what I'm doing. So it's like I put all this effort into coming up with a new thing, and they're like, they come in anyways.
So looking into continuing and sort of things that you might want to try and where you see this, and it's just a question that comes up in my mind. It's not like necessarily to put you on the spot in any way, right? But like just curious, like maybe over the next year or two, you're going to graduate, you're going to have a degree.
Yeah.
And do you feel like, oh, I'm going to definitely keep live streaming. I might live stream. I want to sort of have it be a part of my life. I want to do this full time. Have you thought about that, or do you have a sense of that yet?
I'm still gonna live stream for like the foreseeable future, like even
Yeah.
with working, because it's more than just like I don't see it as a job. I don't see it as like a chore or anything or
Yeah.
just to pass the time. Like I've made real connections on here, and it's like I can't stop streaming. Like I'm addicted to it because of the energy that I get. Like the energy people give me and kind of just that overwhelming like positive like reinforcement that you get from people. Like just having that and having like a family on here that I've known for almost 3 years, you know, like I've known these people and I've met these people and one of my friends, I don't know if she's still in here because I think she's driving. Her name is Redneck Les. She was just here visiting me the last like 2 to 3 weeks, helping me move out and helping me move into my new space. Like,
Cool.
you know, and so it's like these people are more to me than just viewers. And so I don't think I could ever like leave that because it's honestly like my own different friend group that
It
you know.
also reminds me of there's a great, I don't even remember where I saw it, honestly. I was just looking at a bunch of stuff that you've done recently all over the internet, and I saw something with you and Dash
Mhm.
just sitting down casually and like doing a cover song of like
Oh
Billie
yeah,
Eilish song or something.
yeah. That
And
was that playlist. Yeah.
and
So
I mean, you guys are both talented musicians, and the song was great and the singing was great, but it was just two friends hanging out and
oh yeah,
bullshitting and laughing and like
right,
knowing when to do that. That's a friend that
right,
why would you not want to have that in your life? It just happens
right,
to be sort of facilitated by this
right.
technology, I guess. Yeah.
And that's where like honestly like some of the friendships I've made on here are deeper than some of the friendships I've ever had in
Yeah.
person
Yeah.
because when you can't physically like hang out with someone, all you can do is talk. So you're talking about like I've opened up way more to people on here than I have to some of my friends in real life because you know when you're out with other friends and you are doing something, you're not really in that mood of let's have a deep conversation. It's kind of like let's go see a movie, let's whatever. You're so focused in the current that you don't really talk about like other things. I mean, I'm not afraid to talk about them, but it's like when all you can do with these people is talk, they're going to hear a lot about your life as long as you're open with it, which I am. So like these people know so much about me and truly know like who I am. And that's more than I can say for like some of my friends in person where I feel like it's more of a surface level friendship, which is great. Like, you know, you can hang out with them, have fun and you know, I still love
Yeah.
having them in my life, but it's not like who I go to when I have an issue or I have something I want to vent about. I go to people from YouNow because they truly know more about my life than anyone else because these people are people that see me like almost every day, you know, versus my friends. I talk to them. I mean, especially now, not as much, you know, because of COVID and everything, but these people talk to me every day. So it's like they are really my closest people. Even though I have friendships outside of YouNow, I think that's still important in terms of getting that physical interaction with people, you know, like I feel like, you know, you don't want to be so connected online, but
Big
I
new
wouldn't
mind
be able to
tricks.
stop streaming, you know, I wouldn't be able
Inside.
to not do that anymore.
It's funny that you mentioned that too, because this sort of constant thread since we started what we're doing in March around the pandemic and what the music industry is going to do and what artists are going to do has been, well, thank you, Kiki, has been, you know, well, we're not going to replace live shows. That's not what live streaming is about. That's not what live streaming is about, especially
Right.
like even day to day right now, like the live venue industry is in dire straits. They're really having a tough time of figuring out what they're going to do. But that said,
Mm-hmm.
everyone's always been sort of like, this doesn't replace in real life. This doesn't replace
No,
blah, 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 blah,
no.
blah. But what you just said is so interesting to me because when I compare, I don't know, the level of presence that someone has at a concert. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
here's a band. We all like the band, but we're all bullshitting. We're all having a drink. We're all kind of screaming and laughing, and someone's interested in that person over there, so they're going to go. You know, like there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things going on in a show, that are all awesome, and
Right.
there's music also, and the music sounds great and it's loud, but there's a different level of presence when you're sort of like, okay, there's not a whole lot going on. It's some people talking
You're
and some
very focused
chatting,
on that person.
and you might be much more present, especially if you're with that person, I don't know, 20 times in a row on a live stream over an hour versus 20 times like hanging out, going to a movie. You're probably going to know the live stream person better.
Right.
So it's almost like, in a way, there's an additional layer of presence and friendship and
Right.
discovery and all sorts of stuff that I think people that haven't tried this
It
yet
feels more
pre-pandemic
personal,
don't
you
really.
know, like even
Yeah.
even in terms of friend groups, like even if we were all
Thank you,
talking
Yassine.
or something, normally you're not just hanging out with one person. You normally have like a few friends that you kind of have a friend group with. So I'll have like, you know, like 3, 4, 5 people over and kind of say hi to them all at once. And then it doesn't really have that one-on-one time for you to really like get closer in your relationship with them versus like here, you know, I can guest someone and talk just to them, or like I'm talking and they feel like I'm talking to them, you know. It's more of a personal thing. And yeah, I just, you know,
I agree, Kiki.
you
It
run
can be a lot
into
more
some obstacles with
deep.
online and everything, because I mean I've been burned a lot and whatever, but
You mean
some
like
people,
you're talking like people that troll
people
or
can
whatever?
lie about things on the
Oh.
internet easier, like
Oh, I see.
in a
That's
sense
true.
of like they can pretend to be a certain way and then not
Dash.
be that type of person, or you know what I'm saying. But like I've finally got a really good genuine group. Burnt Beach, what's up, Dash?
That's awesome.
That is just so genuine, and I trust them like completely. Like they are who they are, and but you kind of run into some of those people where they aren't really who they say they are, and you know you have to be very careful still, because you treat it as, oh, this is like in person, here's my friend, let me like talk to them, and yeah, they're totally who they say they are, and then you kind of find out all these things. I don't want to go into like specifics or anything, but
yeah,
you know,
but I get
for
that.
instance, the worst case scenario that I've had to deal with, of course Dash is in here, because he knows about this person, is like this dude said he owned a company, said his like baby mom died of like cancer, and like he had to get his finger amputated, and he didn't own his company, he was married to the baby mama still with another child on the way, and like didn't need surgery and was
And he was doing this to solicit money, or what was he?
I think it was to, like the respect thing. Like he
Oh.
kind of, some people want to escape their life and they want to create a new persona for themselves, I think. So it's very attractive for them to be able to like have this character online where they can be who they really want to be, but who they aren't. You know, like, oh, I'm this company owner. I'm, you know, this single guy that, you know, can get these ladies. And whereas he's not an owner, he's married, he has a kid on the, you know what I mean? Like,
interesting. So
that's just the most like harsh example. I haven't really ran into people like that. He's definitely an exception, but like, just stuff around that where people can kind of, there's been things on here where people faked having a certain disease for sympathy. They had like all these things. Like there's a lot of stuff you have to kind of sort through. Like don't trust everything you hear all the time on here. Whereas in person, I would probably trust more, because when you're in person, it's kind of harder to hide like stuff like that. I feel like people can make an online persona that's not them, you know? So
great point.
There's a lot of kind of when you're on here for a very long time, you kind of run into some of those people. Like the overarching like majority is great people, but you're gonna run into those little ones where, you know, you have to be careful with how quickly you like open up to someone or trust someone, because you don't know if they are who they say they are. You know? Right.
It's almost like sometimes, particularly, you know, if this is sort of, and you guys have some great comments too, and it's helping me. I'm learning a lot over the last 5 minutes. My head just expanded because I'm in some ways, I'm a relatively naive person. In other words, I tend to take someone at face value until they give me a good reason not to. And
And
sometimes,
that's how I deal in person. So it's hard to switch that
and I
off.
still
when-
do, I still
Yeah.
roll that way.
Yeah.
I just know that about myself, and I'm
Right.
not going to become like super guarded because I don't know 1,000 things about you yet. But
Right.
I think what you help me and maybe other people to understand is that in a virtual environment like this, you have certain cues, and in a physical environment, you have certain cues. And in this virtual environment, there are cues that might suggest X, but actually don't prove it. And in
Right.
a real environment, you can say, well, but I noticed this and this and this, and so now I'm sort of seeing the bigger picture. Whereas in a virtual environment, you don't realize that you've got a couple blinders on.
Right.
You don't feel them.
like, and that's the thing. It doesn't mean that these people are lying about their lives like that one scenario. It's just sometimes it's even people not telling you about certain parts of their life, because when you're online, I only share what I want to share.
That's
You don't
right.
see my whole life. You don't see, I mean, granted, I share a lot, but like there's some people like you only see me as this person, but you don't know that I am also this person, you know?
Right.
So it's like, even if people aren't lying about who they are, you truly don't see all of them all the time. You know,
Yep.
they show you the best parts of them, or the parts they want you to see. You don't always see the bad. You don't always see, you know, the whole picture, and you can't because they're not in person. So,
And I would almost think that's part of the value of it. In other words, people have a certain amount they can share and explore and talk about, blah, 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 blah. And then there's certain things I could be like, well, I'm not going to put that in the sandbox to play
Right.
around in YouNow. I'm going to keep certain things
mhm.
my own, and that's totally their prerogative. But I think you make a good point, and Danny was mentioning some stuff about like maybe people that lean in a little too much, they get creepy, they get this, they get
Right,
that.
right.
But I think, look, I mean, what I've felt, there's a couple things that I've noticed about you now, like Tori and I moving into this as relative newcomers. We've been here since March, so I still feel like it's kind of a new country for us.
Yeah.
And I say that like fully, like that's what it feels like. It's like, this is super fascinating. We love being here, but we, you know, we haven't been to the post office yet and figured out how to get our blah, 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 blah yet. We don't know how that works yet. There's a lot of things we don't fucking know yet. That we don't even realize that we don't know, right? And so you sort of saying like, well, there's this and that happens, but you know, here's how to handle it. Helps
certain
a lot.
examples. My like another advice is like, make sure like people in here are very huge about receipts, right? Like if you say something happened, like prove it or whatever. In a sense of, I've had multiple experiences where someone said they had something going on in their life, and so we try to help like raise money for them or try to help like them out with their situation, and then we find out later that that wasn't true. And then, you know,
the situation or the money or what?
Like Richie, you're still in here. The very first experience I had was this girl lied about a disease, and we had done a charity stream to help get her money for it, and then realized that she wasn't actually sick. And so it's like, it kind of hurts your trust a little bit. Like, just be careful. Like, don't ever put money into something. It's okay to kind of trust someone and then, you know, figure out later on. But if there's ever like money involved, don't get involved in that unless you know 100% for sure that someone's actually going through something or etc. Like, I gave someone on here like privately, because I'm a helper, I'm a giver. I truly want to help people. That's why I have 2 crowns, right? But it's like, I want to be able to give back. Like, if I don't need a certain money or fund or something, I want to help people. Like, one of my people that used to watch me all the time said, I'm living in my car right now. Like, you know, I just lost my job. Like, and I said, well, how much do you need to like kind of hold you over until you start your next job? And they were like, 200. So I sent him 200. And then I realized like later on that he was lying and he was asking multiple people for money. And then like ghosted everyone, you know? So it's like, you have to be really careful with people. And that, again, that's not everyone on here, but I've seen some examples where people will ask for help and then you don't realize that they're asking like 100 other people, and then of course they probably get like $1,000 or something, you know.
So word to the wise, right? And be careful.
Yeah.
Is there something that you've evolved over time that helps you, let's say, efficiently figure out, oh, that probably isn't true or not? Is there some little way, because that's going to continue happening, but how do you quickly know, like, oh, that's actually maybe not so legit, and they're just going to kind of.
And it's hard because, like, I want to trust people. You know, I want to trust if someone's going through something bad, I want to help. Like, I don't want to be like, sorry, I can't help you.
Right.
Like, if I'm in the means to help, I want to help somebody. So it's hard because sometimes you just have to have the mindset of like, okay, you know, if what I'm giving ends up being for the wrong reason, would I still be okay giving this? If with the risk of it being fake, you know, is this person someone that has never asked for stuff before? Is this person someone that is very close to me? You know, you kind of have to ask that. I mean, I've still helped some people out, but it was the people that never asked for help. I feel like the people that are asking for help are normally the ones that end up using it for a wrong reason. Whereas some people might tell you they're going through something, but they never ask for help from you. And then that's normally the people that are better. But I've really tried to not like involve money in friendships because it always complicates things. So, you know, it's sucks,
yeah.
But
no, it's good. It's not something I was anticipating, like necessarily touching upon, but I think you have so much, not just time on here. You said 3 years, right? You've been on YouNow, but also the amount of people that know you, the amount of people you know, and the amount of heart you put into it.
It's like all these people,
enough,
you know,
what's
like
going on.
Yeah, like all these people, like if someone comes to you and says, like even in your stream, even if it's not like a DM and they're like, oh, I'm going through this hard time, blah, 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 like, and this is someone you consider your friend, someone that you see supports you, like it's hard. Like I personally want to help them. I'm like, oh my God, like, you know, actually this one wasn't fake, like this was totally real, but when I got partnered, it was actually good and bad timing, if you want to see it that way.
When did you get partnered, if you don't mind me asking?
I got partnered August 2018. August 2018.
Okay.
So my friend, his name is Big C, his mom passed away from brain cancer. And so all of the money I made from my first like 2 partner streams, I gave to him to help him pay for cremation funds. Because I'm like, you're literally like this 20-year-old dude, not 20, but like 20s, 20-year-old dude, and you're your mom's sole caretaker and you have no one to help you. And it's like, the least I can do is help you like actually take care of your mom. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so we raised like maybe like $1,300 for that. And like, it's just, if someone comes to me like that, like your heart breaks, you know what I mean? You want to help them. And but I've been used for my big heart before too. So you just have to be really careful of who you pick and choose to help when there's a scenario, you know? So that's what I was saying. Like, I mean, if you're new on here, like you really wouldn't have those experiences yet, but you see kind of some, like I said, he didn't ask for it either. No. But like 95% of the people on here are fine. It's just like a little 5% understand that they can use like your niceness against you, or they are not who they say they are. You know, like just be careful. Like don't go into it thinking everyone is this amazing person and everyone like has all these good intentions, because of course, I mean, it's life. There's going to be people that try and use the system and all that. But
so Kiki was asking, do you play live music outside of COVID, or do you strictly live stream?
I actually like have never performed anywhere. Like I am like self-taught. I really just started singing on here. I couldn't even. So when I started streaming, like November 2017, I couldn't even put my face in a video when I sang then. Like if I was on Snapchat, I would show my ceiling. Like I was so nervous. And
Wow.
so yeah, it's crazy. And that's what I tell people when they're like, "Oh, I can't do this." It's like, how do you do it? Like just pushing yourself and having people. That's where like YouNow is really great because it's like that step between performing in people in person and like by yourself. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
you know, people are watching, but you don't have to look at them watching you. And it's kind of like a next step that helps you. And the fact that everyone's really supportive, they're like, wow, you're so good. This is great. Like, yes, like queen, keep going. Like,
Yeah.
it's like other people believe in you, which makes you start to believe in yourself. And then just that confidence will make you better. And I mean, I've sang a lot. So then your voice is like a muscle and it gets better and you kind of learn how to use it better. And so, yeah, I really didn't sing until here.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. And also almost equally incredible that you really got over. So, man, it would be really cool. Is that obviously there was, okay, I don't even want to put my face on Instagram, or that's like I tell Tori all the time, I didn't want to do FaceTime with my own family before I started doing this.
Right.
Like I don't do that. And
Right.
then for reasons that have to do with curiosity and just wanting to know what this is like, I'm like, no, let's just do this.
Right.
Even though it's weird and it's super, and then you sort of get past it. But like, were there certain stages that you felt looking back, like, okay, there was the, I don't ever want to be on camera.
Mm-hmm.
And then you moved to like, can you think of like moments where it was like, then it went to this stage or that stage?
Like, so I played violin on here. That's how I started.
Oh, cool.
And so I was already doing music stuff. And then people would kind of, I would have like a Snapchat on my story of me singing like a 10-second clip or something. And people were like, wait, you sing? Like, so they were the ones that pushed me actually. They were like, I know you can sing, girl. Like you gotta sing. And I'm like, no. So then I started off with like a super easy song because I was so nervous. And, you know, it was them pushing me, honestly. Like I wouldn't have done it if people didn't say like, oh, you can sing. And my range used to be crap too. So I would be nervous
Thank you.
certain notes and stuff like that. Like certain songs that I was scared of back then are like the easiest to me right now.
Like
So,
what? Like what's a song that was
like
tough for you back
I used to
then?
be afraid of like Radioactive because it goes kind of high, but like now it's like that's definitely not the song I'm scared of.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah, it's nice because like just with I wouldn't even say practicing because I wasn't purposely practicing, but people always telling me to sing and you know me using it more and kind of pushing it more. I got a higher range and everything. I mean, it's still not amazing, but it allows me to do more with my voice and I feel like I've grown into my sound a lot better and just organically, you know. There's really no steps. I think it was just pushing myself until it eventually just got comfortable. So, I don't know.
It's unbelievable. It's super cool. It sounds like honestly you didn't really it sounds like you didn't really care about building an audience or having a this or like,
No,
I think a lot of people that are looking at it.
I didn't consider myself a streamer.
Yeah.
I streamed every Friday was my day when I first started because I had school and everything. I was like, oh, I'm not a streamer. I'm a student. Like that was the whole thing. It was like, I'm not a streamer. Buys a mic. I swear I'm not a streamer, guys. Until like maybe this summer, right when I was about to get partnered and whatever, it was like, okay, fine, I'm a streamer. But I when I started in November 2017, I just I would stream every Friday and just be like, all right, let's just do some music or whatever. And I had supporters that pushed me that they wanted to see me live. So I would go on every Friday. I was like, okay, I'll do once a week, but I'm not a streamer. Like if anything, I guested more. And so I didn't expect any audience. I didn't expect to get partnered or a sub button. Like imagine. In January that year, they had a competition called Duets where you had to sing with someone, or you sing and the person guesting you dances to a certain song, and the winners got like editor's choice for an entire month. So I ended up winning that. And so I had editor's choice for all of January, and so that's when I really started like streaming. And because it kind of like kickstarted me, I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I gotta use this, right? And then I would start streaming like 3 days a week, and then I got partnered that summer. So yeah,
And you've had the sub button for I think a year now. You just celebrated an
well over a
anniversary.
year.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. So actually, I would love to. Tori had a number of questions that she was interested in asking about your 12-hour stream that you did recently. And she was like, "What? How did you do this? And how did you do that? Blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "Why don't we?" So
12 hours
if you're cool with it, 12 hours is nothing. Tori, you want to pop on for a couple?
I did a share competition maybe a year. It was December 2019. A share competition where I could have gotten a sub button out of it, which is why I did it. And it was like a marathon type competition where you had to get the most shares. So you basically had to be on as long as you could to keep restarting your stream. At like, you had to be on for like 30 minutes at least. So every 31 minutes you'd restart your stream so you can get new shares again. So I was live over 4 days. I was live for 84 hours. And it was awful. It was so tiring.
Sounds really painful.
Crazy. But honestly, that's probably my favorite moment in all of my YouNow like time, because I genuinely believe that that's where my family really like started. Like I had supporters, and I felt like I had like people that were very shared, and I felt like I was no one's like number one streamer. I felt like I was kind of everyone's like, oh, we love Erica, but like our number one it isn't Erica. Versus when I did that share competition, it was like team building on crack. Like these people were coming in for 84 hours, like talking with you, having all these jokes with you. So then like we had all these inside jokes then for all the streams. Like the same people would come back into my streams after that, and then they would know each other because we spent so much time like, you know, talking and you know, being there and laughing. And so it's like, I think that really is what kick-started my momentum to get a sub button, because like, and that's what I say, even if you don't win competitions, it gets you exposure. Like I got so much exposure in that, and people were coming in and getting to know me more than just me singing or whatever, because I wasn't singing for 84 hours. Heck no. I was talking, I was laughing, you know, we were just being stupid. We did a whole Jerry Springer like segment. We were faking drama, and we're like, me and my
Tori,
like,
we should do that.
husband were going through a divorce or something. Like it was.
We should fake a fight.
Right.
Like right
we were running out of things to say and do, and
That's
we were
awesome.
like, you know, Jerry. So it was just, you know, I feel like people really got to see me. So some people that never cared to really stay into a broadcast that long got to see me more.
What was
and
the thing
really,
that
like,
the phrase that you use is share? I don't.
When you invite your fans.
Right, but I mean, how is it different if you're doing that over 84 hours than any other time? Like, what was different about that besides the length of time?
It was the number of shares that would win you the contest.
So, I see. It was a share contest. It was like, how many shares can you?
Can you
so
get?
you're trying to get people to kind of
come
share.
in and invite and keep coming. So like people had to keep coming every 30 minutes to like reshare, because you would get off stream. So then, because it said in the rules like 30 minutes minimum per stream. So you do 31 minutes just to be safe. And then you get off stream, come back on. So then all those people that were in there can reshare and get you double numbers, you know? So you keep every 31 minutes I had to restart my stream. So it was definitely painful, but honestly it made me feel so loved and special. The fact that like, I know I'm here for 84 hours. You know, but the fact that other people, they had work, they had whatever, like, and they were still coming in at work. Like they would mute it. They would come in every 30 minutes and be like, oh my God, I got to go straight for Erica. And then, you know, or even the people that were actually in the chat for the entire day, like 18-hour days, like they were in it with me. And the fact that people were doing that for me made me feel so like validated and loved. And like, it was just honestly, like, it was really obviously draining, but I got so much love from it that it didn't suck so bad, you know? And it made me feel so appreciated, and like just the support from that like really like drove me to like continue, you know?
Amazing. So we have a couple of really good questions, and I also want to bring on Tori and let her ask you about the 12-hour thing, even if it's just a miniature version of that. So T, I loved your question about what inspires. Oh, let's see if it's working.
So really quick, there are some people, Kiki, that I still know that they first met me through that share competition, that I still know to this day. So some really, really good people that are very, very close friends of mine now, I met through that. So, you know.
Tori, it's not letting me bring you on right now. Hold on.
I think it's all part of the journey, but
yeah, but was there a certain, there's probably a lot of new people that were exposed to you and that discovered you, and then a certain amount of those people end up running the marathon with you and saying, dude, this is like the spot.
Right.
But yeah.
Like, it's kind of like you have 84 hours to get to know me. Like, you're going to be closer to me and want to watch me more than someone that you really haven't had a interaction with, you know? So it really did make people support me more.
Who inspired you back in the day? What's up, T?
Hello.
Who inspired you back in the day, Erica? Who streaming wise or music wise or just in general, like, were there people that were in your mind that have inspired you to do more of the streaming than you would have otherwise?
So I actually have Humble in my name. I mean, it used to be Erica _Humble. I switched it recently because I wanted a shorter name. I was just like, it's time for a change. Why not? But the Humble thing is not from me being like, oh my God, I'm so humble, or like whatever. There was a streamer on here who had, they're not on the platform anymore, but they had Humble in their username. And so it was kind of like, you know, you'll see some people in here that have a note to a streamer in their username. Right. And like that. I had Humble at the end of my Erica.Humble. I had it at the end of mine to note to that streamer because he was the first one that I was really like watching. And he was the one that like pushed me to sing and pushed me to like stream, because he really like believed in me before I really believed in myself, type thing. When he left the platform, I kept the Humble there. And then at that point, like, people just knew me as that then, so I just decided to keep it forever. But then people always have that misconception of like, why do you have Humble in your username? Like, do you think you're humble? I'm like, no, like, I just have it there because then I got known as that, and then it feels weird because I call my fans like Humble Family, so then it's weird to not have that attached to my name still. So it's just always been a part of me and everything.
Are you still in touch with them?
No, they had.
Asking?
Here's the other thing that you're gonna find on this site. Like, people can kind of like I said, they hide their true colors until a certain point, where he was cool with me until I was more like popular or like viewed than him, and then he got jealous and he was like, she stole my name, she blah blah blah. And I'm like, you left the platform. And he's like, she paid for her partnership, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what? So he got very jealous and clearly had a lot of pride issues. And I cut that off. But I haven't seen him in a while. But I don't know.
Jerry Springer drama.
It's Jerry Springer throwing chairs. There's always a couple chairs on one. They start on one side of the room.
It's like they love to believe in you until like you are more successful, and then they're like,
yeah,
she just used.
It's a good thing that doesn't happen in the music industry.
Yeah.
Tori, what do you got? Let's ask some Q's.
Yeah.
So by the way, Tori, Erica, Tori, I feel like you guys have already.
I've met her in the chat, but.
Met her in the chat.
Yeah.
Hello, Erica. So I popped in on Friday, I think early when you started your 12-hour stream,
Okay.
and you guys were playing Jackbox games, and then I had to go do work or something and popped back on YouNow like 8 hours later, and you were still streaming, and I was like, what is, why?
Oh God.
What is she thinking?
Is this another stream? And I
got the late night Erica. Ooh.
clicked on it, and it said you had been going for like 7 hours, and I was like, no, she's just still streaming, and my mind blew up, and I texted Pete, and I was like, she's on some kind of marathon. And I saw your social media after and saw you were celebrating your sub button anniversary, and now 12 hours doesn't seem like a long time after you said you've done it
Right.
before. But my question
I did a 24-hour right after school ended because I was like, let's just do it. I've never done a 24-hour because I did it 84, but I would sleep. Like I would do 18 and sleep, and then 18.
And you would stream while you were sleeping?
No.
Oh.
You couldn't.
I'm just
Not in the competition, you
There are
couldn't.
people
You
who
had
do.
to be like on screen, like you couldn't even be texting. You had to be like engaging.
Wow.
So,
Crazy.
but I finally did a 24-hour, and honestly, they're not that bad. They really aren't. Like you kind of get in that mood of like, okay, I'm here all day, you know, and you kind of get a second wind of energy. Like your audience gives you energy, and as long as you kind of, that's why I never do long streams without having a plan, because it's nice, because if I'm doing something different every hour, it kind of goes quicker than if I'm like, okay, we're just streaming for 12 hours. If I did that, it would drag on. If I had no content plan, I would just feel like, okay, fuck, we're 3 hours in, really, that's it, you know. I would be like tired already. But if you have something exciting every like hour that you're like looking forward to, then you know it goes a lot quicker.
That's like the perfect segue into my question was, how did you plan what you're doing? Like I saw on your social media after you had games or little things for each segment. How did you plan that out? Did you like get feedback from your viewers on what they wanted to see? How did you plan out 12 hours, 24 hours?
Matthew, Eric is always good at
I'm
planning.
an engineer.
You seem like
you
seem like it. Yeah. So funny.
I mean, the stuff that I put is just kind of normal content that I do, but it was all in one stream. So I think it started with just like an introduction, and then it went into guesting some of my favorite musicians for an hour, just so they could kind of sing with me. And then it went into, I think that's when it was Jackbox games, which for an hour, like people love games on here, honestly. So keeping it interactive in a way, so I don't lose people. And then did like an open mic, and then I did the game called Intuition that I do. That's like you're choosing whose answers whose. That kind of just stuff that I've already done on here that I could do in a little hour span, and trying to make it the most interactive. So, I mean, I did Red's makeup, so I was trying to have like a well-rounded content time. So I was doing music, I was doing guesting, games, like we had like certain guests come on with content that they already do. So it's kind of just knowing who my friends are and like just kind of putting their content in a little hour time slot. And then obviously like everyone loves drinking games at the end because they love to see us like get
sloshed.
Yeah. We never get messy.
Everybody sings better when they're drunk.
Yeah. Daddy loves Intuition, yeah. I'm such
Intuition
a planner.
is the best.
I really am. Like I it's just like part of me. I don't like not having things planned out if it's, I don't know. I'm not good at that. So it's weird for me because sometimes I'll stream on my phone just to say hi to people, and I'm like, wow, there's like 15, 20 people in here. Like, why are you in here? I have no plan today. You know, it's kind of like weird for me because I feel like I need a plan to like have it run smoothly, but then people will just come in. I did a 3-hour packing stream to have hours for Redneck Lens was going for partnership, so I did like the true fan thing. I don't know if you knew about that stuff. The true fan thing, so I could have a double vote for her. So you had to do 5 hours. I did 3 hours just packing because I was moving, and I'm like, I'm too busy. So 2 birds with 1 stone, you know. And these people stayed in my stream for 3 hours watching me pack. And they're like, yo, that was one of the best streams you've ever done. Like, I loved it. I was like, what? I was like, dang, I need to just not plan my content anymore because clearly it doesn't matter what I do. So
I feel like they come for the content, but they stay for your personality.
yeah,
They just love you as a person.
yeah, exactly. Like they really don't care what I do, but I care what I do. Like I want to do stuff that I'm more proud of. Like I'm not proud of a packing stream, you know. But I think it was because like they got more of an insight into me. They were telling me that they liked that because they felt like they were truly like hanging out with me.
Yeah, they
Because
love the packing.
I was showing like family photos and I was showing
Totally.
like
Yeah, it's that side of yourself that maybe people don't see most of the time, but
right.
it's so cool.
And I don't really like hide that, but it was like just I was this box that had so much random stuff in it. So I had like ACL surgery in December, and then when I got like when I couldn't really move around much and I couldn't really organize stuff, I just put everything in this one big box in my room, and I'm like, I'll deal with it later. And so it was just a bunch of random stuff that I had to go through when I was moving out. So that was fun seeing that. But I don't know, just random things where I'm just talking and people will be in there. But I love planning things, even if it's not content. Like with playlist, I had a house of people that support me, and I was like, all right, we're making a Google Doc. Give me your legal name, your email, your emergency contact, any medical conditions. Like I need like your flight numbers. Like I was way more planned out than anyone else. I promise you. I was like, if there's any emergency, I'm gonna know what to do. So
Love that. I'm an event coordinator, so I totally relate to all of that.
Yeah. I'm just like, you know what? I was even like, if you have an issue with someone on the platform, answer it here. I'll keep it confidential. I'll make sure they don't come to the house. Like, I was like,
Tori,
we're having no issues this year.
Tori, I'm going to give you the 4-minute warning. You have a couple more questions. I'm going to pop off for a second. I'll be right back. Go for it.
Yep.
These are great questions.
Got it.
I'll be right back, guys.
All right.
Erica, that was for Playlist Live?
Yeah. Yeah.
Man,
So we got an Airbnb with everyone, and I was just like, I wanted to just have everyone's information there. I mean, I needed everyone's email and stuff anyways for the house because I had to register them as like a guest. But I was like, all right, well, while we're at it, any food allergies?
It definitely sounds like you've become a little bit of like YouNow's mom as well.
I
Like,
really am.
Let me take care of you.
I'm always the mom of every friend group. You have no idea how many people you'll mommy you'll realize like we kind of have this like messed up family tree where like I have a bunch of wifeys and then we all have like kids and like Richie is my brother, Danny's my wifey, Dash is Poppy, like
And does it all get connected a little bit where it gets a little incestual?
messed up. Like I have a bunch of people that call me their YouNow mom. So yeah, or wife or whatever. Like I'm definitely the planner of the group.
Very much love that though.
But I mean, that's just my engineering. Like I don't really want to say it's just engineering. I think that's how I always have been, which is why engineering is good for me because you have to stay really organized. And so I'm used to having things be organized because I like being in control of things versus it being out of my control. I mean, I'm not a control freak. Like I'm not like every detail ever needs to be planned.
Yeah.
But I need some level of like control over a situation to feel good about it.
Some kind of loose plan so you know what.
Aquarius. Scorpio moon. I don't know.
I am a Virgo, so Kiki called that one.
Eric's brother, yes, Richie.
I love that though, that the space has just kind of become just a huge family. I mean, that's kind of what brought us to YouNow and kept us on YouNow was the community is just so inclusive and so welcoming and so supportive.
Like
So-
I mean, I've looked at other sites and everything because, you know, why not? but I've never streamed anywhere other than YouNow. I've supported people on other platforms because I wanted to go see my friends or whatever that have left or are on both or something. And honestly, I think, especially for musicians, it's really one of two platforms, and the T word, I don't know, or this. And I feel like on that platform, it's just not as interactive. It really isn't. Like, it's not, you can't guest. I really like that you can guest on here, so you have easier in-person interactions. I feel like the chat is easier to see here. Like, it's just more, it's more interactive. Because for musicians, like, I have my whole setup, right? Like, I have, you know, my mixer and everything, and like I can't use that on an app that only is mobile, you know. So like YouNow has the PC ability as well as the other one, so it's really only the two. And I just feel like YouNow is just way more interactive to me, and it feels more homey. And so, you know, other people might stream on the other one, but it's like those streamers aren't as interactive. Whereas I really like being able to talk to people, and you know, I'm not on there to stream. I'm on there to say hi. Like I'm there for the people. I'm not really there for anything else, you know. So
it's so cool that you guys get a chance to connect too, because I feel like Tori has a similar set of talent and instincts, and sort of Tori is very good at working with other people and creating a space and facilitating and leading and all that kind of stuff that you've done an amazing job with. Mm-hmm. So it's great to see you guys connected. And I feel like is from that standpoint too, like the sort of facilitator or whatever the role that you play with music is a unique one, and yet I think it's something that's very like kind of almost specific to you now. There's these sort of people who play that role.
Right.
Like for someone that might be interested in that role or understanding how that works, what are some things that you think are like what actually makes that work that people might not be aware of?
Doing like music on here and doing like,
I mean, like creating events where the other people are really on stage, and you're creating this space where
competition.
You're so good at that, and you sort of make it look easy in a way. You make it look like, oh, Erica's doing another one of these things, and it just snaps together, and you get, you know what I'm saying?
I think
like, how do
you realize like with time, like who's reliable, who's not, like who's gonna show up if you do something, and kind of having a backup plan if they don't, you know. I mean, things happen, but I think it's just
Dash never shows up. He's like, dude, I never show up.
Yeah, Dash is always late. You know, it's all good though. Just because
he's fashionable. Stop late.
Yeah. I don't know if he's that fashionable, but definitely late.
I saw some new boots and shoes and stuff on there the other day. I was like, wow.
But I think it's just who I am. Like, people respect me, so they don't want to let me down because they are my friends. Like, the people that I ask to do that, except for, like, the competition where I may not know the contestants crazily, when it comes to, like, guesting partners or doing shows with people, like, there's a respect there where they don't want to, like, let me down because then it's letting a friend.
So guilt them into making sure they show up.
Yes. No.
Strategy number one.
Yeah.
Make them feel terrible if they don't.
Honestly, I don't know why. Maybe it is just easy for me where I feel like people don't really say no to me, to be honest. Like,
step number two, make sure people don't say no to you.
They realize that I, like, will have a planned thing. Like, it's not going to be a shit show, if you will. They know who I am, so they know that I'm going to, like, have it all figured out. And it's going to be, like, run really well. Like, they know I'm not just gonna, like, have a crappy thing, you know. So, like, I asked Dash to be a judge. He was like, yeah. I didn't think I'd get Emma McGann, to be honest, because she's very, like, separated. Like, she has all of her own stuff going on, and she said yes. Like, even Luca was like, what, you got Emma, what the heck? And, you know, I've gotten her for 2 seasons now, let's go. So it's Honestly, I think it's people respecting me. They know the type of person I am. I'm not about drama. I'm just for fun. And they also know that I'm very like professional at the same time.
Yeah.
In a casual way, because they know that I'm not going to just half-ass the show, that I'm going to, put my effort into it, and it's going to be something good, So I think it's kind of having that respect and kind of showing that history of, yes, I have well-planned shows. So let's be a part of it.
For
We
being
know it's not going to be
America's.
crap, Thank you, guys.
Yep. So this was really amazing.
I'm a talker. I can talk all day.
It's not that you're a talker. It's that, it's hard to put into words exactly what I'm thinking at the moment, but like, I felt like, okay, I kind of have a sense of what this is going to be about today.
Yeah.
And I, like you, I like to prepare. Tori knows. I like to give me a few hours to get to know this person. Why do you need a few hours? Because I need a few hours to even have a feel for why I would even, where I'm going to go with it. And then I just, wherever it's going to go is fine. Right. But like, I feel like what it reminds me of is my, in a way, my entry into this entire world was an interview that I was fortunate to have with Emma McGann back in the day as a journalist. And I interviewed her. And I didn't know shit about any of this.
Right.
That's why I call someone like Emma and go, what is this?
Yeah.
And what I realized at the end of that conversation is that there's something in her heart that allows her to do what she does. And the music's there, and the talent's there, and the charisma's there, and all the other things that people say, oh, I love Emma because of blah, blah, but it's just who she is.
It's really not the music. Like, for me, it's not my music. It's really not.
It's something about you. And
there's some people on here that they will have crazy talent, but they can't keep viewership. Yeah. Or they've been on here for years or whatever, and they're like crazy good. But it's because they're not interacting. Like, the biggest thing, people come on here because they want a social interaction. They want someone to notice them and have a conversation with them, and they crave that. And if you're just singing, I mean, they may stay in for a few songs like, oh, this is cool, but if you're not like engaging them well, then they're not going to stay. And that's the biggest thing, is you have to have a personality on top of whatever you're doing. Otherwise, it's just not going to work, because you need to be able to have people want to have conversation with you and stick around. And it's way more important to speak to people than to actually sing. Like, genuinely, my music streams are normally like slower than other streams because it's not as interactive. I've been trying to, hopefully I've gotten my rhythm down of singing, but like in between it, I'll still read comments and I'll laugh if they say something like, they could tell I'm reading them, or like I'll add in some funny words into a song, like I'll reply to them mid-song while still singing it, or just ways to kind of make it more interactive versus just you're watching me sing, so yeah.
This has been super awesome,
right?
And I appreciate you hopping on and being a part of this. This is like, it kind of makes my month in a way. I mean, I love all the other artists that are coming on and talking, but I feel like you have this view of it, and you have a sense of something about the heart of it that you can speak on, that is kind of very unique and really, I don't know, just I think it's great to be able to talk about what you're doing. Maybe even for the people that are fans of yours that see it every day, but they don't really necessarily get a chance to go, how does this work? Or what about this? Or what do you think? You know what I mean? So thank you. And I know you got school next week, so our timing was good. You're going to be crazy busy starting next week.
It is good. It's like, oh man. All right. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, I won't speak for Tori, although I know she feels the same way, but like, I love what you're doing. I think it's great that you're creating spaces and finding that way to basically build a platform for other musicians and other artists, and you're a connector. You're just this connector that makes everything else better. So I appreciate what you're doing and love it and super admire it.
Thank you.
Second everything Pete said, and it's so great to meet you virtually. And can't wait to see the other 12-hour streams, 24-hour streams, 84.
Yeah, Tori.
85 now. I gotta make it look like we still got it. 85 hour just for Tori.
I will try and hang in the whole time with you as long as I can.
Oh no, never, never again. I need sleep, man.
Well, thank you, Erica. Thank you, Pete. I'm gonna
Thanks for having me on.
put me back into the chat.
Cool. And we're going to bring on 7000 for a little bit to do a little audio tutorial. Thank you, Erica.
And they were the winners of my first season.
And you know, I mean, I'm a little biased because we discovered them right before I think they won, or right after they won.
Okay.
But we love them. We super love them. And, you know, right on, right on, right on. I think they were you guys were a wild card, right?
They were, they were eliminated in round 1, and then they came back, and then they won.
And fought back.
Yeah, yeah.
They were like
I
elimination.
mean, they know they played it safe the first week. So that was the whole thing of my competition is you can't play it safe because if someone, you know, if we feel like we had more passion from someone that gave it their all versus someone that played it safe, they put through the person that gave it their all, and then they came back in the final and gave it their all, and they're like, all right, you win.
And this is really our all. This is everything. I
knew they had so much more I knew they could do so much more, so that's why.
Did you? Could you feel that they were like? You were like,
I mean, I had seen them perform before, you know, so I was like, oh, they could do more than this. They know they can.
Are you guys ready to pop on now while Erica's on here for a second?
Oh, together.
Sometimes people are like, just so you guys can sort of, it should be. You might need to refresh for me. 7000. Or hand.
Okay, wait.
Let's try hand. Nope. Refresh for me, players. Okay, Erica, I'll let you go.
Where they have to go live, and then, well, you don't have to actually go live, but to the point where like it shows you your broadcast screen.
Right.
I think it just thinks that you're on a different device, so you have to make sure it's the one that you're guesting on.
Thumbs up. Ooh, what's up, guys?
Erica, hi Peter, how are you guys?
Hi. Good.
Nice. Loved your interview. We've been watching like while we've been setting up and running around like crazy people, but
yeah. So I mean, not to make this like a thing, but like that moment where you guys kind of won that, I think it was June Madness.
Yep.
Yep.
That kind of put you guys on a completely different level, right?
I think so. It at least like opened some people's eyes to who we were because we hadn't been on the platform for more than a month at that time. I think it was. Like, we've been on it for like 4 or 5 weeks, so I think it was a big shocker to some people. I think, and especially because we did get kicked out the first round and came back to the final. I think. Like we felt really bad, so we had to like check with Vicky and Taco. We were like, "Are you okay? We're so sorry." They're totally fine. We're friends, so it's all good. But yeah, it was definitely a shocker. We didn't expect anything, so we were just kind of like, yeah. I was a crazy, anxious ball of
we tried to not have any expectations to begin with, and so we were just like, we'll just do our thing, and you know.
And you had like a cut finger or something too.
Yeah, John had cut his finger the same day.
I cut my finger with a sushi knife on my.
And you're like, dang it, we're just gonna bleed it out. We're gonna.
Yeah, it was like, it's bleeding during the. This is fine. It hurts really bad.
You were literally shredding.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
That's my one dad joke for the day.
Nice.
Great.
Yeah, for sure.
So Erica, thank you so much again. We love you, and anything we can do to help, we're just the tiny, tiny one here. But if there's anything we can help on any way or whatever, please let us know. We love you so much. Thank you for being on, and we'll be in touch.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Good luck at school. See you soon. What's up, guys?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how are ya?
So you're gonna have an electrical engineering class for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how much do you want to know?
Everybody get their notes out. We're gonna be taking some notes. There's like circuit design. John was sending me like literally circuit designs last night. And I'm like, what is all this? He's like, this is where it plugs in, and this is where you need to use alternating current, not DC current.
Right, definitely.
I'm like, wow, this is getting.
I mean, it has to be grounded. That's super important, actually. Otherwise, you will get noise.
That is very true. That is very true. So I think the best way to set this up is if I grab the camera and then I just try to like aim it at whatever John is doing. So.
Wow, sounds aggressive. I like that.
And
so before we dive into this,
Yeah.
What are you going to show us today? And also, secondly, sort of, how has this been important or a challenge that you had to sort of solve this? But give us some context on like why you feel like this is an important thing to be able to explain to people.
Yeah, so for musicians, but for people in general who are streamers, it's really, I think something that a lot of people are struggling with is like, if you're being sent, like, okay, so basically, like, if you're trying to guest or someone is guesting on your stream, like, the problem is you get echo because it goes through the stream and it just like keeps repeating and stuff.
Especially if you are, because you can, mute, which helps. But if you want to listen to you and also listen to the music and you have desktop audio on, that's going to send both you through our stream and the music. So if we want to play music, like sing a song, we have to have you mute. But there's a way to go around that. John, you have to turn your mic up.
Basically.
You're quiet. Turn it up. Yeah. And so that's kind of what we're going to show, how you can solve that by having just an external device. And
all right.
now we can hear you a little bit better.
Oh,
nice.
And
Tori's like, I want to hear him. All caps, all smashed together, very aggressive.
And obviously our setup is a little bit trickier just in general because we have a lot of moving parts and we do a lot of things that I know other music streamers don't do, but even music streamers don't do. We're going to try to like walk you through it a little bit at least and focus on how to like play a background music or a karaoke track or whatever without having to force the other person to mute.
Amazing.
Yes. And another thing that's really that we discovered, because when John wanted to start streaming his music production streams, we realized that Macs and desktop audio don't really work well together.
Nope.
So desktop audio is everything that is played on your computer. So like when you play Spotify or when you play YouTube and all of those kind of things, it's a little bit trickier when you have a Mac. And that's something we can talk about later. But
you end up having because you've got core audio and non-core audio. Is that?
Yeah, basically. So like you have to, it involves
Keith, it's
like
such a headache.
Really going deep into it, and like basically you have to set it up. It's called MIDI, basically, like
Keith,
internal MIDI.
Good to see you, bro. So it's funny. Keith said that he had the same issue and it was a big headache. And Kiki had sort of a follow-up.
Yes.
Which I think is right on topic.
Yes.
Does this also apply if you want to play Spotify in the background, talk, and have guests?
Exactly. So this is showing how to, instead of, so a lot of people, what we just did in the beginning before we figured all of this out, we just decided to just play music through our speakers and then just have it getting picked up by our microphones. And so that was like how we did background music, but that's obviously not going to be the same as playing it directly through. Oh, there we go.
That's either a really well mic'd guitar or that's a song.
Yeah, no, that was John playing playing Spotify.
What's that song?
I'm Yours by Jason Mraz.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like that to me is like a great production in a way. Is it the first two chords of a guitar, and all you need is the voicing of the guitar, how it was mic'd, sound of the guitar. And I know it's that song. Like that's.
Oh, that's so cute. Sorry, that's awesome.
Jason Mraz.
I'll just grab the camera and John, you kind of have to stay decently close to your microphone because I don't think we can switch to audio now.
No, we can't. But does it sound loud enough for you guys?
Yeah, I think it's probably good.
Okay, because it sounds good to me.
Yeah,
but
cool.
So it sounds like full disclaimer. There might be a moment where you guys need to sort of drop in order to get some piece of this working. Is that possible?
We'll see.
Okay.
No,
we'll try showing
it
first.
It should be fine.
We'll try showing it first, and then like if we need to drop, we can do that. But I think it should be okay.
It should be totally fine.
Amazing.
It's just John might have to speak very loud in order to get to the microphone, or just move the microphone when he's moving around. We'll figure it out. It'll be great.
Love it.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome. So here's the main thing is I think a lot of streamers don't have an audio interface.
Oh, this is so reality show right now. I love this shit. This is crazy real.
Yeah. So a lot of streamers don't have an audio interface. So that is like the first step. And that's something that is super, super important to get. Just because basically it allows you to use microphones and allows you to plug in like auxiliary cords or other things like that.
Yeah, like having guitars and having microphones that don't do like, because some people have like just the USB microphones So then you don't have to worry about an audio interface because they just like plug in.
Right.
But most professional microphones will have this, like, will look like that, you know?
Yeah.
And that doesn't go directly into your computer.
But also the problem becomes you need a mixing board to really be able to do this as well, which especially on a Mac, at least, I'm not 100% sure on.
But let's take a look
PCs,
at the audio interface first.
Yeah. So first, let's start. So
good camera work, Amelie. And Tori loves your lighting. She's like, dude, I want that light.
Yeah. So we start out with the audio interface, which goes directly into the computer. So
what interface is that again? That's an Apollo Twin, or is it?
Yep, Apollo Twin. It's by Universal Audio. It's super, super great, very clean audio.
And very small.
So you can take it places if you want to do a portable streaming setup as well. It works great for Mac. I think it works pretty well for basically anything. But so then the problem is like this audio interface doesn't actually split the audio. So like you can't, if you were to do just desktop audio, you wouldn't be able to do Spotify or anything at the same time. So
while talking to someone.
So like that's the problem, is like you need to have multiple sources without them getting the echo or anything like that. So basically what you need to do then is you need to have a mixing board.
Yes. Good. So we started off by having this one, which is just a really small one, which is
what is that? Is that a Mackie?
This is
it's a Yamaha.
Yamaha
MG06X.
Yeah.
Sorry, what is it? What?
We can write it in the chat too, I guess.
Maybe
but,
I don't know if it's close enough.
MG06X, I think, is what it was.
Yes.
Lovely.
So this one is like a small, like good enough. How many inputs?
Yeah.
Does it have?
So it has like 4 or 5 inputs.
Thank you, Tori.
And
Tori is on top. Thank you, Kiki. Everybody's like, dude, MG06X. Pete, it's right there in front of you.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a plane.
Yes.
MG. Oh, that's it.
Yeah. But if you're
Can I ask you an anecdotal question that might be relevant? Did you have those two pieces before you started live streaming, or have you been using these for live shows and then you just sort of started to use that, or did you get that for live streaming?
Yeah, so we actually did have the interface and we did have this for live shows.
But we hadn't used them together.
No. So that was the big thing, big difference. And the thing is when you have something like this, you can plug in multiple microphones, but you can plug in guitars and
also an external. Yes. So that is what you need in order to play external audio that still goes through the system, but without forcing the other person to mute.
Well,
does that make sense? So it's just like an extra instrument that you plug into this thing.
Yep.
So you plug in your guitar, you plug in your microphones, and you plug in the extra like audio that you want to send in.
Yes, but there is still one problem, which is guesting. So with this specific mixing board, we had a problem when people were coming onto our stream because we use that one in order to hear what you guys are doing. So we would
go directly through the computer, we could hear you, but we wouldn't be able to hear what we're playing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again.
So anyway,
very complicated.
All that to say, this guy is great for if you're just starting out, and you can hear certain things, but you can't hear everything that you need to be able to hear.
So can I ask a question that's related to what you just said and what Amelie just said? Does the mixer provide a monitor signal for you in some way? And how is that working? Is it an in-ear? Is it something that's coming from your speaker?
Exactly. So the mixing board is what we were using in order to hear the guests, but then we couldn't basically send Spotify out as well. So the problem became we needed an auxiliary send, basically.
Yep.
And that's where the problem is audio interfaces don't have auxiliary sends, and auxiliary outputs as well. So now we got a different mixing board.
Got it.
Yeah, which we can show you. But basically you don't need this new one that we have, but you need something that can send auxiliaries differently. So this board, you can't send.
You can't decide what's going where.
No, it's just the auxiliary gets exactly what the main output gets.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to split the audio into 2 sources.
Yep.
So that you can hear the guest, but the audience can't hear the guest. Is the problem? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So then we got, because it was time for us to upgrade anyway. As you can see, this one is very small, so we wouldn't be able to play with too many people, whatever. Right. So it was time for us to get a new.
How many inputs and how many outputs does that one have?
This one has basically like 4 true like inputs.
Independent inputs?
Yeah, and then it basically has like it has 2 mains that are XLR, two mains that are like, but everything is main. And the headphones as well are also going to be only what you're sending to the main output.
Yeah.
And auxiliary or like, yeah, so basically it doesn't really actually have an auxiliary. It just has like, yeah, it just has main outs and headphones. Yes. So you can't change anything.
So it's got main outs and a monitor feed for like, this is what I'm,
but you can't change what you want to do.
Are you guys are normally using in-ear monitors now, right?
Yeah, we're using wireless in-ears.
Wireless in-ears.
We can definitely talk about that sometime too.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's relevant and important, even if it's not directly related to how do you get audio in and how do you get this happening. Because if you're not using in-ear monitors, then that signal is getting thrown back into some microphone somewhere and confusing the entire mix. So it's almost like in order to get this thing to behave correctly, you almost have to use some version of this, right?
If you don't have headphones, nothing's going to work.
You're toast, right?
So, yeah, that's the first step, is just getting an audio interface and getting headphones.
Yes.
And
a microphone.
And a microphone, yeah. That's like that's the first step up. But if you want to do another step up from that, you need to get like a mixing board that has auxiliary sends.
Yes.
Amazing. And Keith, dude, I'm so happy you're here for 2 reasons. One, your stuff sounds great. And I know you've got a background in this and have figured this out before, but I think 2, you've been working on your own studio recently and getting stuff dialed in. So like, I would love to hear if you've got, sidebars to this or questions or comments and stuff. Like,
we've just figured some
100%. This is, we're all just hanging out together, trying to, I'm so happy you're here.
And,
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So far we've looked at sort of a
audio.
Small mixer. We've looked at the interface. And now we're going to look at the bigger mixer that does some extra stuff that was good for you guys.
Yes, definitely.
That's the small mixer.
Small mixer, audio interface, computer.
Computer.
Right.
And so down here, okay, I'm going to see if I can even show this.
Oh, we're going down into the electrical.
Yeah. So, can you explain what this is?
Wow, dude, we're in the matrix now. We're totally in the matrix now.
Yeah, so I'm going to get the microphone as well so I can talk down here. So hopefully you guys can see it. I'm going to shine a light on it too, just in case. Maybe this helps a little bit. So we'll see how much you can see it.
And Keith, good point. Emma McGann has a YouTube series. Yeah. I haven't spent a lot of time on it, but I know it's badass if she and James did that. And that's probably an addendum to this. Tori, if you have a second, if you can post that, it would be nice for people to be able to see that and have that in their back pocket as well. Go ahead. Sorry.
And so we'll also try to make a chart for you and take some pictures so people can also see, or make a video or something.
Yeah, we'll figure out some way to sort of capture this.
Yep. But we wanted to just give you guys a broad overview at least. So so this is a different mixing board and it's all digital, but the main difference, the most important difference, is that it has more inputs, which doesn't really matter, but it has 9 outputs. So basically what that means is you can send things, auxiliary sends, to a lot of different sources.
Yep.
So so the good thing is then we can split the audio, so we can send, so this is actually this pink cable right here.
Pause for a second. Tori, do me a massive favor. If you're watching and can do this, can you tap on their screen on your stream right now so their screen is large and take a series of screenshots if possible, because these are really awesome and I don't want to do it on mine because I don't want to mess stuff up on the stream. Thank you so much. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're all good. So this is a Behringer X-Air 18. So it has 18 inputs and basically 10 outputs.
Yep.
And 6 of them you can control separately, which means that we can
control the input, the gain, the output. What?
So we can control the send. So basically, what that means is like we can send you. So you're this pink cable into input 6, and then we can send it to just
route it.
us. so then we can hear just you basically, but the audience can't hear you. Like,
and that's digital and virtual, right? There's no actual wires in the traditional sense doing this.
yeah.
Yeah.
So then you control it on, because it doesn't have like any knobs or anything, so you control everything on an iPad.
Right.
Yes.
Oh,
So,
dope.
yes.
And that's probably an app that's a Behringer app
Yep.
that we're looking at right now.
Yep.
Christine, that's super fascinating too. I want to just, for people that, so a lot of streamers have apparently bought a lot of stuff, new stuff, after seeing Emma's videos. So
Yeah.
we need to go back and look at those as well.
Yeah, we definitely have to watch. We haven't watched hers either. I think it was good
Thank
for
you
us
for
to like,
mentioning
kind of
that,
figure it out
Christine.
for ourselves first.
Completely.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, there's probably a number of different ways to sort of build this bridge, but
yeah.
Right.
but this is awesome. This is super cool.
And,
So
yeah, it's complex this way. Doing like
Yeah.
music production stream is honestly more complex.
Yeah.
Like, but we could always talk about that some other time. But
yeah, we will
basically-
for sure.
Basically, so we have here. So these are all our inputs, and our other problem was we use a looper.
Yeah.
Right.
With that has a built-in metronome, and we don't want you to hear the metronome, right?
For
we
sure,
don't.
but
we
you
we
wanna
wanna
hear it.
the metronome.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was another thing that we had a problem with, and why we really had to.
We had to be able to
Solve it.
send things
Think
auxiliary.
through this. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So yeah, all that to say, so we basically our setup is we send everything pretty much into our looper, and then we send the looper out to the mixing board, and that's just a very simple setup, but you can do it different ways. Like so we want to make it so we can loop everything if we wanted to,
Right.
but also because of that, basically what you can do in order to get Spotify is you just send like a secondary device with an aux cord.
So whatever, an iPhone, an iPad, a mobile device, whatever, that's just going to play Spotify, and that's all it's going to do.
Exactly, and it goes into the mixing board, and then you can send via the aux send. You can send to just you.
Question.
Yes.
Or the
When
audience.
you say you're sending that from the computer into the mixing board, how exactly is it? An audio cable? Is it FireWire? Okay.
So it's just an aux cord here.
Just a normal 3.5 millimeter.
3.5, the tiny one, the headphones
Yeah.
one.
Yep. So if you
Into
don't-
another headphones one size, or
well, this one's going
quarter
into this one's going into our looper, which is a unnecessary step if you don't want to have a looper.
Yeah.
The good thing about this is we can actually control the volume of the microphones and the instruments from here, instead of having to go
independently or as a master?
Yeah, like
Hmm.
reverb we control from here, which is really
Yeah.
nice. So it's just a push of a
Ooh.
button, which is so it's just like you just press.
and they're all
Oh, yeah.
right here. That
That's
drops
also
my
really cool.
voice.
Anyway,
That
that's
drops my
another
voice.
cool thing we can do.
But yeah, but then you can also turn down and turn up the mic from here as
For
well.
sure.
So you can do that all at your hand level. So since we don't have an
With
audio
your
engineer-
looper, that's what you're doing.
with our looper,
Exactly.
Interesting.
But-
So you're controlling at the
Exactly.
same time, let's say the Spotify volume, the mic volume, your instruments volume, and
Yep.
then probably a master volume for the whole thing, but moving
Yep.
up and down.
Yep.
Got it.
Plus
So
we
we
have our
can-
metronome and all that too.
Exactly.
Oh,
so either we
effects.
can control
Okay.
that on there, or we can control it on the iPad. But since we use the iPad for lyrics and stuff a lot, or to check things out, or whatever, or set lists, it's really nice to have a separate thing to do that. But if we want to mute, we have to. I mean, we can mute on here.
We
too.
can mute here, just
Yeah,
turning it. Yeah.
That's very true. Why don't
Yeah.
we do that? That's so much easier.
I know we could probably
Yeah,
do it.
whatever. There's a
Tori
lot
is tripping right now. She's like the layers.
Yeah, I know.
That's all she's got
I know.
is
It's
the layers.
insane.
But
It's
you
insane.
don't need a looper. So like
No, it's
my
way
point-
easier if you don't have the looper.
my point is
Yeah.
like you can just use audio interface mixing board and
that
then
has aux sends.
that has
very
to have
important.
aux sends.
At least two, right?
Well,
One main and one.
yeah, at
Yeah.
least one.
Yeah.
At least one that you can send to yourself. If you're one person,
Yes.
you only need to send it.
Let's
Yeah.
talk about how you send that to yourself. Are you
Yes.
doing that again? It might be redundant, but when you say you're sending it to yourself, are you sending it to that wireless mic
Yes. So we're sending
or
it.
more wireless headphones?
Yeah, so you can see down here we have these are our in-ears. We actually didn't plug in
Yep.
the third one, but this would be for our drummer.
Got it.
And then we also have kind of a mess with because we are using the I'm not gonna plug it in. It's fine. So we actually send these. We have to send two mics to our looper, so we have to send them both to our looper, and then we send them back into the mixing board.
Okay.
Which, yeah, that's another complicated thing that most people don't need to do. But
how exactly do you get that audio signal that you need to be able to monitor into your in-ear monitor?
So, so you mean just like sending it to yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
how do you? What's the actual
signal flow process?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So like in this particular case, you can see the mixing board here. So channel 4 is everything from our looper. So that is essentially both of our microphones, guitar, piano, Spotify, everything. I'm just sending it through the looper.
Right.
So that's the only fader that's actually turned up.
That's your master.
Yep. So the main is also turned up, but that's basically just heading back to the audio interface. So you can see here, channel 5 is actually our metronome. Channel 6 here is our guests. So either our guests or, for example, you. So in this particular case, I click on channel 6. I can click on send. And then I send it to, here's Amelie's in channel 1. I'm in channel 2. Drummer's channel 3. And yeah. So basically, I can choose where to send and what volume to send talking to a guest.
Right.
Yeah. And since we have so many different auxiliaries, we can choose to do it for different volumes for different people.
Yeah. For instance, the drummer might want to hear the piano the most, and so we can adjust it to fit his.
Oh, you can give each person a personal mix.
Exactly, because we have 3 separate sends as well. Like, what do you call those?
You can give 3 different people 3 different mixes.
Not the receivers, the senders.
Yeah, we have 3 different auxiliary sends. So basically, all that to say, you would only need 1 send.
Yes.
If you're one person, you know, you need, like, or you need to be able to at least have it not in XLR format, so you could plug in directly with a normal set of headphones. Because like XLR is not your like consumer connector.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah. So yeah, just get a mixing board that has at least 1 auxiliary send, and depending on your needs, like it gets messier. But
sure.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm capturing, or sort of like the essential components. And tell me if I'm missing anything, or if I'm maybe doing things that are unnecessary. But like, you've basically got music that's being generated through mics and whatever else. That's not as important. But the music is hitting a mixer. First.
Yeah, so
not the interface first. It's hitting the mixer first.
Exactly. So I can just talk signal flow for you.
Great.
So
let's do that.
We have,
can I put this down? So
yeah,
you can do that. So basically we have.
Thank you, Amelie.
So get to go all around our studio, I guess.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you for inviting your friends.
So
we're totally gonna watch Emma's thing. Oh, you were talking to Kiki. Sorry.
No, it's all good. So we have, to make it simple, we have microphones that are plugged into the mixer. We have a secondary device that's basically plugged into the mixer.
Which plays like Spotify and whatever else.
We have guitars, piano that's plugged into the mixer. The mixer sends a main out to the audio interface, which then goes into the computer. So microphones, Spotify, etc., into mixing board, which then goes into the audio interface, which then goes into the computer. And then in terms of like needing to hear it ourselves, we have an auxiliary send, which can send it directly to us.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's the simplest version you just said over the last 12 seconds. That's sort of the essential. That's the minimum thing that you need. You do need an interface.
You need an interface.
You do need a mixer with an aux out. Whose purpose is to be able to let you hear yourself without letting other people hear that version of it.
Yes.
And then you need a separate device that's playing Spotify or your music or something online or whatever, that's living in its own world, that's just being sent into the mixer board.
Yep.
And then that mix within the mixer board is basically spitting out 2 versions of reality. One is what's going into the audio interface, which is the complete signal. And the other is your in-ear monitor signal. That's basically the same thing, your headphone mix. That's probably the same thing, but it's living distinctly. They're basically the same signal most of the time, right?
But
Yes.
they don't have you guys don't have you.
No.
So hence
It's
you
really-
won't get the echo from the guest.
Right. You
Another
won't.
thing that-
You won't. It's not hitting a mic twice
Yes.
as its source and then
Exactly.
originally. Yeah.
Yep.
One more thing, though, you have to remember is that there's also one cable that goes from the audio interface to the mixing. So you are
To
going
the mixing board.
from the computer to the audio interface to the mixing board into our ears, but it doesn't then go back.
It doesn't
through
go back
the
to you.
audio interface to the computer because it only goes to us. Because that's how we told it to do.
Got it.
That makes sense.
And we'll
It does.
like we said, we can make some charts and stuff too.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
it's-
And this happens to behave in the environment you're in. It happens to behave on a Mac.
Yes.
This is on a Mac. I don't. So you have the same problem though on a PC. So like
Sure.
you have to be able to split the audio into multiple sources.
Yep.
So you would have to be able to split the audio from a guest to only go to you and not go back to your desktop.
It would
So that would
probably
be the
behave
problem.
more or less the same way because most of what's happening in the way that you've set it up is external to the computer.
Exactly.
You're not asking the computer to have like a virtual mixer board inside and
Yeah,
stuff like that,
exactly.
or using OBS. And no, you're using circuitry
Equipment, yeah.
outside of the computer. So it's probably that computer stage is going to be more or less the same whether it's a PC or a Mac. I
I
think.
have a question for John quick.
Yeah.
Are there any audio interfaces that are big enough so you can just skip the mixer, so you can only have an audio interface that's big enough that can handle all of this? That has
Possibly.
aux
You would
sends?
have to. You would have to have aux sends. So
Yeah.
that's the tricky thing. I'm not sure. I would
Because
have to do some research for
some
that.
mixer/audio interfaces can work for both things.
Sure.
We've just decided because we're really happy with our audio interface. So like
Yeah.
for us, it was about upgrading our mixer.
Yep.
Not 100% sure about that.
Well, I mean, for example, this mixing board we have can work as an audio interface. So technically, we don't need our audio interface, but it just
Right.
gets a cleaner signal, and it's pre-set up. So, like this Behringer X-Air, you could use technically as an audio interface, but again, the problem becomes splitting the audio from the guest to you. So if you can do that within the mixing board, is
Okay. So a couple things. Cimarron-Key, we'd love to hear your music. We're doing kind of an audio tutorial at the moment, but absolutely come on or check in with Tori, and we'd love to check out your music. Keith is saying that for that I run audio from the Mac through a separate interface whose output goes into the streaming PC mixer. I'm assuming what you mean by that, Keith, is that there's a virtual mixer on your PC instead of a Behringer digital mixer, and that's what's doing the sort of the heavy lifting on the mixing. So Keith, dude, it might be cool to almost do like version 2.0 or the second version with you, because you're going to be handling the same basic problem or opportunity, but in a different way in a PC environment and in your own sort of set up with your own equipment. And I think it might be cool to like see it in another environment, because 90% of it's probably going to be basically analogous and the same, but there'll be that sort of, but on a PC or on this, right?
Yep. And it's a huge mess.
Thank you,
just
Keith.
Depending on
Amazing.
the different system that you have as well. So like I said, for music production, it gets even more complicated because you actually do have to split the audio within the Mac, which Macs don't split audio. It's just like one source, so you have to But I think PCs are a little bit easier in terms of splitting it internally.
Let's talk money and budget, just so people get a taste of like, what are we talking about here? Because some people are like, okay, I feel like I'm going to have to spend $10,000 to get this to work, which may or may not be true depending on what you're going to get, to be honest. But let's think in terms of like, the way I try and think about this is the same way we had a conversation 6 weeks ago with you guys. It's like, as long as you're above a certain professional threshold where your music sounds good enough for whatever environment you're trying to compete in, that's fine. It doesn't have to be a mile over that threshold. It just needs to be an inch over that threshold. So in terms of like, what's going to be a smart investment that gets you something that's not going to sound too prosumer, but isn't over investing either. I think the Apollo Twin is a great example of that. So in that vein, like, what are we looking at to buy X pieces? Like, what do you?
Yeah, so you need a decent computer, right? then
That's
you
always
need
a start point.
yeah.
Like,
Right.
you need decent internet, obviously, for streaming.
Yeah.
But then for the audio interface, like there are a bunch of them. Like Focusrite is one that is like super.
True. A lot of people use
known.
Focusrite. I've seen
Yeah.
Focusrite in like big name studios.
$80, $150
Sure.
for the beginner one. It works totally fine for, especially Scarlett's good.
For getting in, Scarlett. Yep. Thank you,
They're
Jesse.
about $100, $150 if you want to get into it, but you don't want something that's like crazy good. But you need to be able to have like an output, right? So you can send to yourself. And then in terms of mixing board, our mixing board, the Behringer XR, I think was 500 something, but like we could produce
and online.
New at Guitar
Center.
Yeah. But you could get like we can do a full band. We could do could have
Sure.
We bought it for live.
You
as well.
spent more than you needed to compared to what
Definitely.
you know
compared to
a looping streamer would do.
Absolutely.
Right.
So
You probably get that same animal for 300-ish.
I would say 200 to 300.
200 to 300.
And then basically just need the XLR cables to connect everything, and you can get a mic, and of course you can always upgrade any of those things, right?
Yep.
And auxiliary cord to be able to plug into your mixing board with a secondary device.
Right.
Yep.
So some cords, some mics.
Yep.
You know, I think condenser mics, sort of those. I mean, we've had those conversations a number of times, but sort of, you know, there's a number of condenser mics people have thrown out there.
Yep.
So that's super helpful. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Tori, help me out here, and you guys, anyone that's on here that's not sort of like, what is all this? This is way nerdier than I expected. But like, anyone, help me out here. What is it that I've forgotten to ask, or that could be useful? And one way or another, we'll try and 7,000. Are you guys okay on time?
If we can leave in like 4 minutes, that would be awesome.
We can totally do that.
Awesome.
And thank you for asking that, Tori, and thank you for telling us.
Thank you, Tori.
Deliciously nerdy. I'm getting nerd props. That's a thing, and we just got it.
Yeah, we can talk about the producer stuff sometime.
Yeah, we'd love to.
That's the real nerdy
Phantom
stuff.
Power. So I would guess that Phantom Power only comes into play for certain kinds of microphones.
Yes.
And that's right. And so that's relevant, but it's a little bit secondary to the conversation only insofar as like we're really just trying to look at how do we get good audio into the stream and behaving and split into two pieces. So Phantom audio would be something we could do like on the second round when we're looking at production and music and what about certain kinds of mics that need power. So great question. In fact, I'm going to write this down for like the 2.0 version.
Most mixing boards that you would buy
should have Phantom Power.
So
there'll be a little button, and it's not called Phantom Power.
It's called a plus 48.
Yeah, plus 48. If you see that and there's a button next to it, that's
or
what
48V.
you click.
Yeah. We'll also try and figure out. It may take us a couple weeks to do this correctly, but I'd like to have almost like like YouNow actually has. I haven't looked very, very closely at it, but they have sort of a decent like, here's some stuff that you might think about buying page.
Right.
And I don't know how that compares to the kind of discussion we're having today, but I imagine something parallel that's like, if you're kind of moving into the music streaming thing, here's the sort of professional but not over expensive like suite of things that together kind of gives you
I'd say it'd come to $500-600 all in all for a decent setup. And I think the good thing is like it's a really good media setup in general. So you could do a lot of
great
things
point.
With that. So you could do
great point. Gaming,
like
interviews, whatever.
When we play live shows, we tear down almost everything that we have except for the audio interface and bring it with us, and or in the camera. So like, we really don't have like two sets of things. We use the same instruments, we use the same microphones. I usually don't bring the condenser. I usually use one of those when we play live, but otherwise like it's the same thing.
I know you guys are tight on time. Thank everyone. Jesse, great point. And I'd love to chat with you more and find out. I feel like this was really, really rad. And hopefully it wasn't like too nuts and bolts and technical and oh my God, those are wires and what's going on. But this was so amazing. I mean, I've really been hoping to do. I've been hoping to do this for 5 months since we started. Nice. Something that was like, how can people sort of get this thing connected in the simplest but solid way? So amazing. We'll probably take this and capture it in some way, written or diagrams or something, and we'll get that out to you guys.
We'll take some pictures and
and we'll write something out as well. And if anyone has any questions, like feel free to ask us either on Discord. We are in the LiveonLive Discord, and we're also you can write us on Instagram and stuff. We love helping people, so just reach out.
Love you guys so much. So thank you for everyone that was here. Tori, you're amazing as always. Mind Tricks, thank you. Appreciate you, Erica. Love you so much. Scotty, good for being on today. Kiki, good to see you. Victoria, thank you again. Danny, thank you. Giles, good comments today. T, great jump shot. Christine, 7,000. Keith, good to see you. OG, and Jesse, I definitely want to talk some more and find out more about your music and what you got going. Love you guys. Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Yes. We'll see you.
See you soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
I know that Erica does these for 84 hours, but for me, like 2 hours is a lot. That was like two sides of the live streaming hemispheres. It was like all about, why are we doing this? What is this really all about? And then how do you make it work so it sounds good? It was like left brain, right brain live stream. That was like dream come true live stream for me, because I feel like that was so much good shit, and that's going to be very, very useful to go back and listen to and watch again, for me at least. Yeah, Giles, appreciate it. I've been seeing you. You got some good points in there, man. I appreciate you being here. Please come back and hang out with us again some more. So yeah, I had a question that I wanted to ask you guys that's sort of related and sort of not. But one of the ideas that popped into my head the last day or two was like, when you look at something like what we just learned, like over the years when I've bought stuff in music, I've bought things piecemeal. You know, you go to whatever and you buy this and you buy this one and you buy that and this and that, right? And that works. And usually you can get it all new and it's great. The other way, we'd love to have Lydia on. The other way, thank you, Christine. I know she's one of the finalists for Erica's thing. That's why I'm kind of familiar with her music. And trial and error, 3 years, studio, full potential. That's the most common story. And frankly, I think that has a lot of advantages, because while you're trialing and erroring, you're learning and getting your own sense of your own sound and your own way to do shit, which is cool. The other way to do things, and this is sort of my point that I wanted to ask you guys about, is I think there's a lot of advantage in just finding someone that's like, look, I'm selling all of this shit, I'm getting out of it, or I'm going to move up to this over here, and I'm selling this system that's got 2 of these and 1 of these and blah, 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 and you turn it on and it works. And I'm not sure, I haven't really looked into this, but my gut's telling me that there's people out there that would like to buy that. And there's people out there that frankly might want to sell that right now for various reasons, some of which are just like the music industry is a bit of a shit show right now. So I'm wondering if it would be worthwhile to create some sort of a way for you guys to either, if you're selling something like that and you're like, yo, I'd love to, you know, and I'm not talking about like, oh, I want to sell a couple of mics necessarily, although that could work. But I'm really thinking like, if you got live streamer over here who's getting into this and really wants to get this sounding better, but doesn't have the equipment, and then you've got somebody over here, yeah, like a bundle of some kind. And then you got somebody over here that's like, yo, this thing works right now, turn it on, done. This is how I generally shop. If I'm going to shop for something, it's like, I like to just get a complete setup, because I think depending on what you're trying to do with it and how much you want to push on it, it's just, it can get you in the game in a matter of like hours instead of days or weeks. Yeah, I get it. Most people, I think most people like to sort of buy their stuff and customize their stuff. But I think for certain newer live streamers that are sort of tumbling into the game right now and trying to figure it out fast, being able to have some sort of a place where people that are moving on from a setup can pass it on to this person, and then that person can enjoy it. Might just be one small way to help the ecosystem. Yeah, so that's cool. I mean, if you feel like there's, I guess my question is like, do you think that will be useful for the people that are on here? Just is that something that would be useful, or is that just going to be a bunch of people going, nah, I'd rather just buy the 2 mics myself new at Guitar Center? You think it's more ideology? Exactly. That's another thing I'm thinking, Giles, is like some people might not have 800, but they might have 250. And even if it's not the sweetest, newest, most badass setup, that's not the point. The point is if you can get something for 250 that's going to get you through the next 12 months and get you streaming and get you in, I like that idea better than, well, let's just keep saving up for the 800. You know what I mean? Yeah, cool. So that's good. I mean, I'm getting mostly good feedback on that idea. It's just kind of something that I was thinking about, because I'm like, what are the sticking points right now? Like once you know what you need and how to set it up, and let's say you play or you do whatever, you want to do something online. Okay, now what else? Okay, well, you need the equipment and you need to know where to buy it and what the budget is and et cetera. So thanks, Freya, for becoming a fan. What questions do you guys have? I feel like it's been a lot of rah. And sorry, that's kind of what I do when I'm in interview mode. I try and just be present with the people there and what I think is relevant, and it's enough for my brain to just keep up with that stuff. What do you guys think we didn't touch upon today, or would be useful to talk more about, or people like Dash or upgrading? Oh, right, totally. That's a great point too. You've probably got people, streamers on here, much less everywhere else, but particularly on YouNow, that are like moving from 1.0 to 2.0, and they're like, well, where's my 1.0 going to do? I'm just keeping in the closet? No, dude. Let's see if we can figure out a way to get that to, you know, the freshman that's like, dude, this would be amazing, right? And that helps everybody out. Thank you, Freya. So what do you guys like help us out and help, you know, help sort of the discussion a little bit? What is it that would be interesting that we've sort of teased today? Is it more about mics? Is it more about collaborating? Is it more about getting things working on a PC environment versus a Mac? Yeah, it's like holding on to cell phones in a drawer. It's totally true. It's like we buy this stuff and then we forget, like once you stop using it, it's just sitting there. And another interesting thing about the sort of buying just enough to be at that professional level point is that that has a resale value. Like an Apogee Duets, you'll be able to sell that in 2 years. I don't care what they come up with or how good it sounds or how cheap it is. There's certain things that the likelihood of it being able to have a decent resale value, at least that there's a market for it, is very high. So if you get something that's sort of professional standard but not overpriced, overpaying for it, you have, not only is it going to serve you while you have it, but you'll probably be able to get 20, 30, 40, 50% on the dollar for it later when you upgrade, which, I mean, is a very common thing when you're getting stuff, right? So questions. I would love to talk about how really mentally, what it takes mentally as an entertainer live streaming. Also different routes you can take being in the industry that aren't in the highlight. Sometime on the show would be cool. We do that all day, every day, OG. I mean, that's kind of our thing in a way. It's a subtext. It's not really like the main piece, but I feel like a lot of, I mean, my background's more in the sort of, you know, non-streaming world of, non-live streaming world of music. So a lot of what we try and do is sort of map, if someone's trying to figure something that's not live streaming, love to be able to do that. So I'm glad you're saying that, and that's just like a little click in my brain that says, yeah, that's something we'll continue to circle back on. So Tori, don't let me not act on that. Secondly, on the mental and the sort of mental space involved, it's interesting, something that Erica was talking about, that, you know, she got into this for a particular reason in a particular way that wasn't necessarily like to become famous. And I think that is something that's worth exploring a bit. In other words, before you even start streaming, why are you getting into it in the first place? I think that's a relevant question, because if you're getting into it to become famous and then 6 months later you're not famous, you might struggle with things a lot more than if you're just going into it because you're trying to get over the fact that maybe you're awkward in front of a camera and you're deciding that you're done with that. So some of that I think is like the mentality that you go in with. I want to say Jay Daly, but it was someone, Jay Cozy from last week was making a similar kind of point about people that drop off for a minute and then they get like this like flack from their people. And also it's interesting that Erica was saying like she didn't really experience that. She felt like she could pop off and do schoolwork or whatever, and she wasn't getting that pushback. So somehow she found the pocket where she had her life and that balance, and then she could make it work. So it is a super interesting discussion, and I think it's a matter of like circling around it, talking to people like Erica that have figured it out, talking to people like Jay Cozy, who I'd love to bring on and explore more with, and find out like what happens when it's not comfortable for whatever reason and people are struggling with it. What happens when they are, and then like how do you sort of stay over on this side? Great stuff. Thanks, Freya. Cool. So definitely some good stuff. Because you don't know. Freya's a singer, right on. There are probably a million different reasons why people get into streaming, for sure. So I think a lot of it's like what's going on in your head in terms of why am I doing this? What are my expectations? And like, what, you know, what's the motivation? I think that's it. It's a more complex way of looking at it, I guess. But I think your motivation and what your expectations are is a very important way that you sort of calibrate internally about what's going on or not going on. Yeah, I think we are on a new record. That's why my voice is dying. Oh, I'm a totally brilliant singer. Did anyone hear my Jack Johnson impression last week? That pretty much says it. I'm okay. I love singing. I love that Banana Pancakes vibe. I was doing some bushfire fairy tales. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I could sing, but again, comes back to like, why are we on here? I'm more interested in having some badass singers on here, or some badass people that work with singers on here at the moment. By the way, just gotta say it, I don't know if she's on here at the moment, but I was doing some listening and some stuff yesterday, just kind of preparing for today with Erica. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard Sophella sing. She's a sweetheart. She's on here a lot, and she's popped on a couple times and said hi and supported us. And I was like, Sophella, and I'm like, I couldn't really find a lot, but she's got this one song that she recorded on like an Instagram clip. And she's mad good. Like, I love her voice. It's very unique, and I would love to have her on just to talk about like what she's up to and kind of like what she's trying to do. Not because she's, you know, won 5 Grammys and has 10 platinum records, but I think there's also a space here for people that just have talent and like a couple things figured out, and then are trying to sort of figure out the next couple things. So, yeah, Giles, like, put that word out, because like we already liked her. Tori and I were like, dude, she's awesome. She's sweet, and she's really great, and we love her energy. And then I'm like, I think she sings, and then it sort of said something. But sometimes I'm gonna put this out, and then I gotta probably jump, otherwise my voice is gonna be dead. When you guys are artists or you're music creators, and you know, if that's your main thing or sort of your main thing, like sometimes we'll pop on and try and check out what you're doing. Oh, really? Trooper's Got Talent. Sometimes it's hard to find your shit. Like, honestly, like it'll be like, okay, you know, so it might seem obvious to you because you know where your stuff is online. You know where your Instagram is. You know where your this is. You know where your that is. You know what I mean? Thank you, Erica. But like when someone's trying to find your music and it's at all difficult for them to figure out like, well, what does that person sound like, or what's their new music sound like, and stuff like that. I mean, you could obviously like stream regularly and let people know. Sometimes that's going to be listed on your YouNow page. Sometimes it isn't. So like in Sophela's case, I had to work quite a bit to discover she's a good singer and that I like her music. And I sent it to Tori, and I'm like, dude, what the hell? You know? So like, I know it sounds kind of silly, but it's an easy thing to do to make your music actually harder than you think it is, to find it, to get into it, to share it. Like, okay, what do I do with that? Now I got to copy, and then I got to send that to Tori in a text and be like, yo, check this out, you know? So like the easier you can make that for people, if that's something that's actually important to you. If you're just doing it for fun, then none of this really applies. But like if you're putting music out there, think about it from the fans, like think about it from the perspective of who I was yesterday at 6:30 at night, where I'm like, oh shit, what does that feel like for them when they find that piece of music that they've just loved of yours? What's the easiest way for them to share it? How do you make that easy for them to find out the rest of your music, or know what you're doing next week, or discover that you're on Bands in Town, or that you're on YouNow, or that you're on whatever? It's almost looking at it from the way a company would think. If they like your product, what's the easiest way for them to find more of that? Whatever that is, come onto your live stream every day. How do they find your schedule? How do they know more about you? How do they even know that you're doing that in the first place? Don't make that difficult for people in the industry, for fans, for collaborators, for producers, for engineers, for people writing about you. Make it as easy as possible for people to be like, click, click, click. Now I have everything. I could share this. I could find out more. It does take some work. It's not the reason why people get into the music industry, but thinking that through, if this is at all not interesting for you, we had a conversation about 6 weeks ago, I think, Tori. Yeah, Christine, right? With Tano and Aya, where we were basically kind of unpacking how they could approach press. How do you pitch your new record to someone that might want to write about it? Similar discussion. It's like, okay, how do you look at it from the other person's point of view and say, oh, I've never heard of you guys before, but I just discovered you and I'm kind of into it. What can they do next? Anyway, something to think about. So I guess my last point will be like, there's a lot of things like that we could talk about on this stream, like basic strategy for music industry type stuff. How do you get your music seriously considered for placements? What does that really take? Because most people still think it's just a matter of like getting someone in the right mood at the right time on the right day with the right show. Oh, we need an instrumental guitar track that sounds like flamenco mixed with dubstep. Perfect. That's not reality. That's the reality that's playing in a lot of people's heads, but that's not the reality of the situation. So is that interesting? That whole thing, like how do you translate stuff that you might be seeing or doing or partnering with or collaborating with in YouNow or whatever? And like, how does that work in publishing? How does that work in getting a management deal? How does that work to try and get a tour schedule? How does that work to get an engineer and producer to help you finish your record? What does splits look like if you're trying to share things with them? How do you get someone to work on spec, meaning for free, but they feel like your music is so great they're willing to do that? Like, is that interesting to have some of those discussions that are more just like normal music industry, blah, 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 blah? Awesome. We'd love to have you on, dude. Completely. So also, I guess on a flip would be like, if you have intel, if you have stories, if you have whatever, if you work in that field, love to have you on. So OG, dude, if you haven't already, I think you might have already. I feel like Tori and I were already thinking about having you on and talking with you. So maybe let's chat offline a little bit, just so I can get a vibe on like, what are we going to talk about? What is the best way for us to do this so it's valuable for folks? And we're super down. So that goes for anybody. If you work in marketing, if you work in management, if you work in production, if you work in live events, Tori, anything like that. Keith, dude, I don't know if you're ever interested in producing records, but I would send people to you if you were like, yeah, dude, I'll produce records. I think you'd be a phenomenal producer just based on the music that you do and how you work with other people and what you've done with We Create Now. I think it's amazing. Really 100% behind what you guys are doing. Kiki, if you ever want to come on and talk marketing. Scotty, if you ever want to talk about stuff you're trying to figure out or help people with. Anybody here. We're sort of the little crossroads. So love you guys. Thank you for hanging. That was a cool left brain, right brain craziness. Tori, what do we got on Friday? You like how I'll kick it over to you? Because I'm like, dude, I don't even remember what day it is. I think we got a double header on Friday, right? That's right. Kim Maverick. What a voice. What a songwriter. She plays drums. She's cool. So got that coming on. And super sweet, amazing. And then, right, we got Sam Elliott at 2. Same day? No, sorry. Wait. It's the next time. So, okay, it's just Kim. Do we have someone after Kim? No. I remember I just had to pop out. I have sort of a hard out at 11:15 on Friday. That's what it was. Brit is free? Awesome. Oh, you just made my day because I kind of figured, all right, I'm going to do something that's a little weird. Oh, if. Oh, if. Okay. Why do you do that to me? Don't do that shit to me. Yeah, we still don't know. Either way, by the way, I'm going to be talking about placements. So for those of you that are interested in sync, or in other words, you write a song and you want to have it in TV or film, or the flip, you have someone that's doing an independent documentary or whatever, and they're like, yo, can you make some original music for me? In either case, we're going to be talking a little bit about that because she had expressed some interest in learning a little bit about that. So we'll have that as part of her interview on Friday. So if you're down to learn a little bit, contribute a little bit, if you have some intel on that, if you want to speak on it, come through. And yeah, it's totally fine either way. Yeah, Jay Daly is popping in shortly. Yeah, we got, dude, is Karen Allen listed in there as well? You guys need to be here on the 2nd. Now, is that 100% or, oh, I guess it is. She's going to be on Wednesday. I guess she was originally on Friday and we had her move to Wednesday. Karen Allen is like super brilliant when it comes to live streaming and she's really plugged into what the industry is doing and can give you a really cool big picture on like just the dynamics of it. She's super brilliant. I'm really excited to have her on. She writes a lot. She writes, her pieces run in like Variety and Billboard and blah, 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 blah. She happens to have written a book called Twitch for Musicians. I don't know if Twitch is like a bad word on YouNow, but I mean, until I'm told otherwise, I'm going to talk whatever I'm going to talk. But the point is that I think that book is valuable, not just because the fact that it explains how to do things on Twitch, but 30–40% of it applies to any live streaming environment. And it's a really good book. And it's probably the best book out there on that topic written the way it is. Good to see you, T. It's great to see you. And we'll have you do some raps by memory maybe next week after. So yeah, you guys are great. Thank you so much. If you have any other tips and tricks and stuff you want to talk about, drop it in the Discord. And we're here every Wednesday and Friday at 10 o'clock PST. We do some extra sort of afternoon things as well. We're probably going to be adding a second layer at 2 p on Pacific. But we're always here 10 to 11-ish, like Tori says. So thank you guys for rolling through. And again, don't be a stranger to the Discord. That's a really good place for you guys to connect and explore and work together and stuff like that when we're not streaming. So see you on Fry. Thanks, everybody.